to see the body, right? So in order for Rowley to see the body, Kamala told him that you will pretend to be my husband to walk with me so both of us can go and see the body. And I found that was a good gesture showing that she not practicing no racial thing and she wasn't bad mind. Right? So I don't make it sound like both of them is party one. She did that gesture
And no,
in order for
Bruh,
him to get to
and
bruh,
walk
heavy
with her.
no,
bruh,
no,
bruh, they did
heavy
that.
no. We're not making a song
Bruh,
like that, you know.
they,
We're not
you're
making a
not
song like
making
that,
it
and
sound
heavy.
like that.
We're not making it. What I was trying to say is that you see, putting in the watching it, you just say all our we is one blood. So they're still laughing at me in the backgrounds.
All
In
right,
the
so
backgrounds, they're still knocking glass and drinking champagne.
so
So the
during the
citizens is
timing,
just looking like clowns.
during that same timing where they went to that funeral, right? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from my information that I know personally, there was also some conversation. It was private conversation, so it could be propaganda, it could be hearsay, it could be she say, but
Yeah,
it's
what
just
Rowley says can be factual because it based on
nah. I'm not
his
talking
what
about
he
that.
see. And he just
What
lied.
I'm
So I
saying
don't
is,
know who he's
there was a bill brought by Kamala to Rowley in order to raise the parliamentarians' pay, right? Well, the MPs and them was for them to get a raise a pay. This is when no Rowley brought the bill, right? And they turned it down at that point in time, right? Kamala them they turned it down. And then now Rowley, when he is in power, which is from 2015 till now, he brought it back and also got their pay raised, right? Do you all think do you all think it was selfish on Kamala's part for not raising it? Or do you all think it was wise on her part now by not accepting it but still having to accept it in the ending?
and that again, I didn't understand what one day, know. Let me tell you what happened with that reason of that salary. Right? Every quarter, or I think it's every 3 years, then the man could correct me, the Salaries Reviews Commission is had to go based on how to raise salary based on the projection of cost of living and all these things. That is why public servants also supposed to get a salary raise because they're still operating on 2013 salary in 2025. Right? They go through a different process. When it comes to government, and this is why I tell you guys the constitution need to change. When it comes to government officials and judges and all these people, magistrates and all these people, they go through something called a salary reviews commission. The public servants go through something called a CPO, right? When it comes to the salary reviews commission, they go based on the cost of living in the country, and they raise to suit that, right? The first time around when Rowland and them wanted to raise their salary, right, and Cameron them objected, right? They postponed it, and Rowley tell them go and reevaluate it, not knowing in the background you're telling them to raise it up some more because that wasn't enough, right? They went back and they came back with a different projection. With this projection from they decided to take the 40 something percent. I can't remember exactly the exact figures, but it was 40 something percent raise, right? Kamala and them objected it. But what Rowley and them did, they never brought that to Parliament for them to debate it. They let under the Constitution a loophole in the Constitution where the finance minister could go ahead and pass it without bringing it to Parliament. And that is why they had to accept it because they couldn't debate.
man, because I work in for them. I work in for them.
Like
And
I said, I allowed him to correct me. So
I think the PNM government is a cult. Honestly.
Let me tell you something. I working for them, and certain things that they own around the country, we as officers supposed to be getting little benefits and thing. They don't even give we a drop in the bucket. We just have to pay full price for everything in any other businesses we go.
I telling you again, and I don't feel like I said,
Any
but
other
this
businesses
is
we go.
I telling you again, and I don't feel like I said,
we disagree plenty times.
When I get angry,
Get angry, that's how to say what I say.
No, I understand you
When
long
I get
time.
angry, I just get angry, that's how to say what I say.
No, I understand you long time.
about any problem that Trinidad you shouldn't speak.
Okay, now when I try to
That Trinidad space, you are one people like you, you are one change and make a mind. People like you, we are here trying to change and make a mind.
Honestly, wait.
But I will not give my
Honestly,
I will not give my son I will wait until after you.
Listen. Oh Jesus! Well, don't say nothing again and listen to what I have to say because Jesus! Well, don't say nothing again and listen to what I have to say because everybody. I want everybody.
I'll wait until after the election.
Let's quit. Let's quit buying
I'll
a
wait
voting,
until after
right?
the election.
Let's quit buying a voting, right?
Is it that everybody here thinks we living in a perfect world with perfect human beings? That everybody here. All of we are good and bad. In everything we do, something will happen. All of we are good and bad. We have to think smart. Something will happen. We are seeing the problems. We have to think in front of us. We are living in the problems in front of us. And you are telling me it's okay. Because you are telling me it's okay.
Because they don't know nobody in
because you find it's okay. You
all of them bad.
Just like
because they don't know
and
nobody
because
is
none of we imperfect.
All of
it's
them
okay.
Bad,
just like allow this and this because none of we imperfect. It's okay
way we
to allow this
from growing up
was nice and beautiful. Christmas
way
used to feel
it. Custom from growing up.
Christmas has come now and you don't Christmas used to feel
it.
Christmas has come now and you don't the vibes anymore.
Like a regular day.
And this is what all they're doing. You don't even get to be saying anymore. Trinidadians just want to what all they love to fucking complain. When all they have to be saying Trinidadians just want to people that love to fucking complain. Yellow is the code, and all they will not go this life over here. All they have to change yellow is the code, and all they will not go there.
That is crazy. Then you're giving up your right. Opinion and that is government controls you. Then you're giving up your right. So by you not voting, government them could do what they want to do. Life of your right to complain. So by you not voting, them could do what they want to give up your right to complain.
And what's happening, man? When I listen to realize when I listen to realize you know saddening man I make my total reference that's not what they are right now because these adults you know saddening man I make my total reference these adults I listen to these adults we what we little children to understand things these adults I listen to all kind of left all kind of right and somehow we bring care processes and we just kind of left and all kind of right and somehow we bring care processes and we just come on man because I can tell children DJ have you go now in a priest come on man because I can tell the children hey DJ have you go now in a preschool and tell the children hey you know the PNM UNC does do so does now children none of them are and the UNC does all of us are good and bad now children which one to choose none of them are the smart little children all of us are good and bad which one to choose and I know they say well children we training this is what make no really done they say well it's sad and there's nothing to rub in on their face it's sad I don't know how all this cannot see sad and there's nothing to rub in on their face it's sad I don't know how all this cannot see it's simple
Miss Kitty
I don't know
let's try what Kitty said.
No, well,
let's nobody not against nobody saying what Kitty said. You have your right to do what you want. Let's nobody not against nobody saying you have your right. So you have your right to do what you want to do. Nobody can overboard on the country, right? But what's sense in our life? Complaining about this on the country and not going to do anything to fix it. I believe personally that use voting and not because they don't like it, not because of I believe personally that use voting not because they don't like it, not because of no, I'm not saying allow me to finish. I believe no, I'm not saying that you don't like the options that they get. The options that are between PNM and right? That you don't like the options that they get. You know what you options that are between PNM and UNC, but you know what PNM, you know what UNC either. It have others, but then what's the chance of them winning? It have others, but what's the chance of them winning? I tell you, right?
It's
Everything them
exactly.
timing, to make the
Right?
change. And this is what I tell
Yeah,
you.
but,
You
but still,
everything
you
is
should
timing.
place your vote by
Right?
the party you're supporting from now.
You
Big
But
man,
still, you should
I
place
will
your vote by
reserve
the
my
party you're
power. And
supporting
if it
from
have
now.
big
Carry
man,
Trinidadians out the
I
wino.
will
You're
reserve
not
my
Carry
power.
Trinidadians
If
out
it
the
have,
wino.
if it,
You
I
will
will
never
reserve
have
my
a
power.
fucking strategy. All are we dead. Trinidadians out the wino.
We be dead.
You
listen.
will
You
never
have to
have a
have a
fucking strategy. All are we dead.
You have
You
to
go
have a
suffer.
strategy.
We be dead.
Listen,
You know
you
what
have to
strategy
have a
am I
strategy. And it's going
We
to
have to
have a
have strategy,
strategy.
and but when Kamla holding SOE, we have to know strategy, and but when Kamla holding SOE had a strategy, when Kamla know how to run the country, Kamla had the SOE, when Rowley had a strategy, and go on with the country, and he was under real pressure. When Rowley had a strategy, when he was under real pressure, senses.
Hold on. I listen how
When
you're
we going to
talking,
wake
right?
up and come
And
to
I
his senses.
understand what happened with
I
you
listen how
and
you're talking, right?
the information
And
that
I
you get
understand what
like we're
happened
talking about when
with
I
Kamala
get
and
it.
the
when they had
information
But
that
I
you
get
get
blindness warrior.
like we're talking about when
I
Kamala
get it.
what
and
I'm
when they had
saying
the
to you
But I
house
get
and all
blindness
this, right?
warrior.
Hold on. It's nothing wrong.
what I'm saying to
with
you is,
learning the truth, right? Right? It's not
and let me tell you why I'm
wrong
saying that.
with learning
The guy
the truth.
King, he
Right?
talks something, right?
And let me tell you why I'm
I
saying that.
simply debate him and
The
let
guy
him know
King,
what that way say there, brother,
he
is
talks
wrong.
something, right?
He serious
And
is
I
really
simply
bringing the
debate
drugs
him
into
and let him
this
know what that
country.
way say there,
And
brother,
he
is
humble
wrong.
himself and
He
he say,
serious is
okay.
really bringing the drugs
Yeah, I
into this
understand.
country.
So based on the
And he
information
humble
I
himself
got,
and
I
he said,
thought was
okay.
this way, but
Yeah,
now
I
you expect it to be
understand.
that
So
way.
based on the information
Right. Based on the
I thought was
information
this
you
way,
have
but now you expect
against
it
the
to be that way.
UNC, which I
Right.
dispel
Based on the
many since I
information
come in
you
this
have
talk,
against the UNC,
I dispel
which I
many of the
dispel
information
many
that you
since I
get.
come in
This talk. Because most
okay?
of the information
I
about the
dispel many
UNC
of the
is
information that you get.
propagated information that was
Because
being
most
put
of the
out
information about
there
the
via
UNC
media
is propagated
to paint
information that was
Kamala
being
as the
put
devil.
out there
Right?
via media.
Now, if you really check it,
paint
they don't
Kamala
have
as the
anything on
devil.
Kamala, no.
Right?
In Kamala's
Now, if you
tenure,
really check
Kamala
it, they
don't have anything on Kamala,
person
no.
in her
In Kamala's
cabinet.
tenure,
She
Kamala
tell them
fired
go
every
home.
corrupted
She remove them.
person in her
Every time
cabinet.
something come up with
She tell them
corruption
go home.
allegations,
She
she
send them
remove
home.
them.
That makes
Every
she a
time
bad
something
person.
come up with
She
corruption
introduced the children
allegations,
life.
she
She
send them
introduced
home.
laptops
That
for
makes she a
children.
bad
She raised the
person.
minimum wage.
She
She raised
introduced
the
the
children
children
life.
life.
She
She
introduced
do
laptops for
nobody's
children. She
talking
raised the
about all
minimum
the
wage. She
good
raised
Kamala do.
all the
Everybody
pension.
know
All the bad
Bill
Kamala.
School,
Nobody's
Bill
talking
School.
about all the think about it. All this person so the bad
Bill School, Bill
Right? You ain't thinking about it. Think about
all
it.
this good
All
for the
this
country
person
when
so
she had
bad.
only 5 years.
Right? And she did all this good for
in
the
your
country
mind,
when she
what
had
you were
only
told
5
and what
years.
you were propagated to
Right?
believe is that
But that
in
party
your
bad.
mind,
They
what you
may
were
no
told
good.
and
They
what you
just
were
like the
propagated
PNM
to believe
and
is that
when it's
that party
untrue.
bad.
They
It's
may
not
no good. They
but
just
it's
like the PNM.
unreal.
And
They could never be that PNM when they did so much more for the country.
unreal.
In 5 years,
They
that the
could never
PNM
be that
ever
PNM
did.
when they did so
And
much
when
more for
you
the
talk
country.
like that, you
In
make
5
it
years
sound
that
like
the
you
PNM
were
ever
properly
did.
well
And when
brainwashed
you
to believe
talk
that
like that,
Kamala
you
man
make
not gonna
it
do
I was
sound like you were
brainwashed.
properly well
DJ,
brainwashed. Sounding
Let me
like
let me
that.
let me let me
I
let
was
me
just
read
at a
that.
laugh at you,
Very
my brother.
defensive.
I
I'm
brainwash.
sounding
I
like
Let me
brainwash.
let me let me let me let me
A
let
man
me
a
let
laugh
me
at you,
very
my
talk
brother.
and
defensive.
good
I'm
morning.
saying
I
sounding
brainwash, my
like
brother. A
Let me
man
let
like
me
me
top
to
of the
brainwash
morning,
him.
top of the morning.
You to
Let's
read
get
this
it.
them by
You're
the
organizing a
system.
very
You be
powerful
talking and I
conversation.
tell him be on the system and you tell me about
Kitty,
I
you're
brainwash
organizing
them.
a very
You need to
powerful
wake up
Let
and I
him
tell
know
him
that
be on the
stand.
system and you tell me about I
Well, let
brainwash.
Gillen
We
have
ain't
a chance.
You
arguing.
need to wake up
Let
and
him
tell
not
me
get
about
chance to speak
Let's
now.
get we Gillen
And
then.
this is
Gillen
We
have
ain't
a chance.
arguing.
Everybody talk
and
one by one. We
Kitty
go reach
Mon,
Let's
somewhere.
get we
and
Gillen
this is
then.
With
Mon,
your
Yeah,
permission.
Gillen.
Everybody talk
and
one by
Well,
one.
Linda,
We go
Kitty
reach
Mon,
somewhere.
I want to
Kitty,
say
With your
Yeah,
permission.
Gillen speak.
I don't know
well,
where this
Linda,
street
go ahead.
living. I want to say I could tell you based on what we seeing here, this right here is the problem. I could tell you based on what we seeing here, this right here is the problem. I just really try to understand I just really try to understand every day how reading information on the internet every day, or not even trying to read the information could be on platforms like this talking information. Let me tell you be on platforms like this talking stupidness. And for the people who love to first, let me tell you dispel the stupid information. And for the people who love to first, let me not dispel the stupid information. Nobody in Trinidad Tobago right now should be even poor. Not 16. 100 years plus of a petroleum nation. 100 should have already set up our generations of a petroleum nation. Should have already set up our generations. We are directly plus retrograding this country. We are directly by some simple things that even today I don't disagree with. By some simple things that even today I don't disagree with. Trinidad Tobago dollar should even be traded to the US at
at $7. Trinidad and Tobago dollar should now be trading to the US at 7 to 1 on this line, because I hear people talk about Kamala this, Kamala that, because I hear people talk about the problem here is misinformation. Listen, and this is why even when Heavy and them was on their life, and this is why even when Heavy and them was on their life, all I need to read it and understand it. You see that thing they call the Constitution, all I need to read it and understand it. So that people listen, I hear somebody now talk that during the blackout. Listen, I hear somebody now talk that say they allow drugs and guns to pass through. Somehow they're really fooling themselves to where they're living. Guns to pass through. It seemed to me somehow they're really fooling themselves to where they're living. It seemed to me I was a child in Trinidad and Tobago. You hear me? Was a child in Trinidad and Tobago. You are telling me during the time that lights, you are telling me that during this time guns and drugs running rampant in this country. Till we even have pastors coming out running rampant in this country. Till we even have pastors coming out and saying, I know for guns coming from Venezuela.
Yet they said allow the Venezuelans and them to come in free of charge. Yet they said allow the Venezuelans and them to come in free of charge.
From Colombia. Everything from Colombia.
On what we call 1%. Go and check and see who are the companies that are licensed to bring in import and exports. How much African companies, we love to say black army, this and that. How much African companies even licensed to bring in stuff, manufacturing? From everything from the food to what we drinking to even the medication is owned by a oligarchy. I can't even say monopoly. There's a whole oligarchy group. Our control.
By the Syrians.
I want to tell you something. At the end of the day, the constitutional reform shouldn't just be about constitutional reform. It should be about if you understand what the Bretton Woods agreement is, this guy time you have to raise your pay, living, this goes up, and then life of income, not a problem, goes up, and then to raise the price, not a problem. By the time you realize what's going on, and by the time you realize what's going on, from $5.75 to $7 to $9.75 to $7 to $9 every time $50 minimum wage. Every time they directly say, you pay right back into the same problem. You pay right back into the same problem. Minimum wage goes up. Every time minimum wage goes up. I wanted to give a right back economics, okay? I wanted the government should be moving to keep the cost of living down. The government should be moving to keep the cost of living down. Finding a way to ensure that businessmen finding a way to ensure that businessmen one part of the criminals direct. You know the criminals you talk about one part of the criminals. You know the criminals criminals and 500% to ensure that you can live comfortable 500%. To ensure that we don't can live comfortable. This is the problem here.
The real criminals is the government. The real
problem here.
The real criminals is the government.
You're not listening to what I say.
I listen to what I say.
We're talking about the criminals who rubbing on insurance companies who rubbing on their blind in on their face. The insurance companies who rubbing on their blind in on their face. See away. And then at the end of the day, you can't even see away. When the man comes, the banking institutions are telling that they're just assigned to do a job, but legally, the Prime Minister is a public servant. Legally, the Prime Minister and the President are public servants. And if public servants could only afford 4%, how could the Prime Minister be getting over a whopping 15% interest rate on his pay? Madness. Well, I'm not understanding that's the system that we live in. So constitutional reform is not about changing the laws. It's about changing in the infrastructure to make sure that every man could live properly and live comfortably in the country. And at the end of the day, if the government have to collect the allocated taxes,
that you must be able to get value for service. We just see our brother Amandi in the prison. It was in the prison system. They beat it like a dog. Nobody not going to charge them. Not going to charge the prison service. Nobody not going to charge the prison
Exactly.
service.
The one who got beaten to death.
Exactly.
You're talking about
So
Yes.
everybody want to talk one part of the system. Even before I was telling that gentleman, when we had falling out here, you know, I tell him, I said the way you want to approach it, you can't approach it that way because you need a real army of backing to ensure that you have that backing. And I want to say to African people, somehow we still sleeping because they have you in love with your oppressors. And let me say to all of them alive, okay, just go back and do the history. 1854 to 1954 is 100 years. Don't tell me that you today shouldn't be able to have some comfortable living and you couldn't be able to afford a house with all them projects that P&M bill and couldn't finish, right? And you're still today directly catching your backside because even the renters directly who telling you it's 1,500, it's 3,500 to even live. Some of them have all living like dog.
Yep.
And I say worse than dog.
You see,
and we can't even fix
apartment
those problems because what? Legislation again. So as I end can give somebody else. Don't make this about the UNC and the UNC corrupt. Come the 5 years. And some of them wouldn't even recognize what was done in 5 years. All them schools at the People's National Movement but take money and never finish bill. And I have to sit them and
exactly.
All them
that's the same thing I say.
Thing that she had to cancel because it would have put plenty of her more in debt.
Why is baby
recognize what has been done? Because why?
Why does baby
who controls the
But I see same thing I was saying.
Let me finish.
Baby University the People's was built by Kamala Prasad.
Just now, King. Let me finish now. Let me finish. The People's National Movement directly, who bankrupt the country in 4 years under Eric Williams, and wouldn't tell her let her bankrupt the country, right? Under 4 years. Went ahead and saw the revolt of the Black Power movement in the 1970s. And this is why they spent the next 20 years making all feel that Yasmin Abubakar, another black man, was the problem. When he was the one who had to stand up directly to fight against the drug trade. Come now, man. All I need to wake up, right? I'll let you stop the shootings.
Well, we all know what happened to Abubakar. Only get rid of he by force. Anyway, that's another topic. Leave that alone. You know what I'm talking about, but we're going to leave that alone.
That is why a lot of things need to be done when it comes to constitutional reform, because there's have no way possible one government can be in power and build a school like the university in Dede, right? And then it get left to grow up in vines for the next, how long PNM in power?
About 10 to 15 years. 10 to 15 years.
Right.
10 years.
As long as they has been in, as long as PNM has been in power since Kamala became opposition leader in 2015.
Yes, really nice.
From then till now, they are parts of the Debe University still growing up in vines. There are a lot of projects that she started.
Not only Debe University, King. No, there's a lot of primary schools and secondary schools that is growing up.
That's what I'm saying.
In vines and bushes that UNC never finished.
There's a lot of projects that she started.
Let me ask you this question.
And this is something that has been going on a long time, not even between Kamala and Rowley. Long before them, one government would start a project, they would lose the election, the following government do not follow up on these projects. It just left.
But let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Who started the highway from Point 14, from Sando to Point 40? Who started it? Manning or Kamala?
That highway, I wanna explain a little something, right? The extension on the highway was in planning since NAR time. The overpass by Grand Bazaar, that plan was on the books since John Humphrey was part of the government in NAR time. We're talking about 1986. Them plans was there to extend a highway from Port of Spain straight down to Point 14, right? It's only when the UNC came in power, they started to implement back all these old plans to finish up all these things, including the Valencia bypass. All these things was already there, but just rest down, and they were doing PNM were doing other projects besides those things, right? It
Leslie,
was
let me tell you
started
something. I
under
didn't even know
the
that.
NAR, but the UNC started to build it.
I didn't know either.
I didn't
I
even
didn't
know
know
that
that.
them projects
That's
go
why I
so
asked.
far back. I didn't even
Let
know
me
those
tell you
projects go
something.
I
so
didn't know
far back.
that.
Let me tell you something. There is a I want to get the right word by saying here. There is a plan on the book since 1993 under Pandey to it's called the something of Lavantil. That is to break down all the houses in Lavantil we're seeing overlooking Port of Spain there and build a whole new housing community up on here there, right? And give the people the houses and them, right? But it wouldn't be like it was going to fall under at the time wasn't agency, was National Housing Authority. They're going to be middle to low class income houses, and the beautification of Lavantil was the name of the plan. And was to
Was on that UNDP,
relocate the people, put them somewhere, right? Build the whole infrastructure overlooking the houses in Lavantil, overlooking the Port of Spain, and then bring them back and let them pay a small minimum fee for the house and give them long-term mortgages to pay off for these houses and them because they didn't like how it was overlooking the city. That was on the book since 1997. Every government come in, see that and leave it right there. And nobody never tried to do it.
They would
right?
leave it right there.
I am telling you things where I get information on. Right?
No, but DJ, I hear that. No, but DJ, I don't know if this is right or this is wrong, but I hear that in our WhatsApp group, I hear that there was, every time they tried to fix it and the contractors tried to come and fix it, the people at Lavantil would run them from there and shoot at them and stuff.
Misinformation.
That's why, don't shoot the messenger.
I understand. I just saying, that misinformation I got in that chat group. A lot of people don't know the information I'm giving to you. The reason why, all right, do you know today, right now, no property in Lavantil has any value?
Yep. And that's the most prime piece of property in Trinidad.
That's not just now. Let me interject. That is not correct information. And as somebody in the real estate industry, let me say this to you. Lavantil is one of the most undervalued but very well valued piece of property, especially on that piece of hill. Let me say this to her directly. I want to let her know this something. Right?
Why the flooding with drugs and guns?
Let me tell her two pieces of real estate right now. If the 1% get their hands on, they're gonna live like lords in this country. Or let's see that place called the Beetham, right in front of that waterfront in Port of Spain. You see that waterfront where you see all the way where you see past the highway, you see all those little shacks on the side there. When you're driving into Port of Spain on the highway road and you look right, it has some houses right after you pass. If you pass the 1 or 2 traffic lights, as you're going down into Port of Spain, it has some housing on the scheme on your right hand side. You see, if the 1% get their hands on those prime properties, let me tell you, some of them would see lots. Thank you. If the 1% get their hands on those projects,
some of them can't even go back in Port of Spain.
Some of them ain't going to go back there. I, as a man who in the real estate and as a licensed person, I'm telling you all directly, don't let the fool that misinformation.
Linda Mac, allow me to finish, please. Linda Mac, allow me to finish. What you are saying there is part of the East Morange project that came under Patrick Manning when he formed the East Port of Spain Development Company. The idea was to remove the people of Lavantil, destroy the homes and build condos, extend the port to Silas and move the people from Silas and extend the port, right? That is part of the East Morange development, right? Where the 1% financiers won the land. But in order for them to get the land, they have to make the land unvaluable. Meaning to say, hold on, it means to say that if you live in Lavantil and you use your deed for your home to secure a loan in any financial institution, they're going to tell you that that cannot be used as collateral because that land have no value.
Right.
That is what I mean. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to get rid of the people from the community, drop the real estate value of the land so that they can
buy it out for next to nothing.
Right. And this is why directly, you notice I came and I spoke a different mindset because there is a narrative being propelled to African people and the people who live there that your value ain't worth nothing. When they move with what you call gentrification to move it from one area to the next area, the first thing they will always want to do is devalue the cost of what you have. So we need people to understand.
They can't move you just
So this is what we're telling people directly. And this is why you see, Stuart, you want to bring social media reform. Because you see what we are discussing here, everything we are discussing here, that power of information, they don't want people to understand that. That's why I went to get their license and study their system to come back and educate we people so that we could be more smarter and understand what we need to do to get ahead. And I want people to understand at the end of the day. You see that CLOTS? That CLOTS is nothing under 5 and 10 million evaluation.
Correct.
Because it's right in front the seafront. Because when you see them move these people out, and they have to pay them market value for their land, and they had to go back and build those condos will skyrocket in price.
So just like Bayside Towers.
Yeah, this is why we tell people understand what they're doing in the system. That's why I have always said your banking infrastructure is one of the most corrupted systems. Okay, your insurance is also a corrupted system, and if they don't understand what needs to be done, I tell them people right now, all of them who sitting down on the CLOTS, educate yourself to this thing called real estate, because that is how they're going to come at you to make you feel. When it was the Crump Point International Airport expansion right here, you had to go and stop and fight against this government. You know what they started doing, people? They started telling them, we got to pay for your loan. Man like me had to tell these people, don't go and take the people offer to what they offer. And if you stand up together, just what Kamala Prasad says, let me tell you that next thing I don't tell you. When they had to remove, what was the next? There was a land acquisition that took place in Trinidad. Is the opposition who had to directly ensure that squatters were paid at market value for their land.
Correct.
And PNM come and pay them next to not now half of them sitting down, they're balling it like cow because they can't finish done build the property and they're uncomfortable. All I understand? So don't let this government fool all of nonsense, eh?
All right, then Mark Kitty, everyone in the chat, I don't go now. Sorry about that. So we will talk again later. Enjoy the day.
Yeah, you too, lover. It was nice.
Yeah.
Kitty, are coming from breakfast.
Thanks for the information, man.
Mr. Lyndon.
I hear.
Mr. Lyndon is still there? I don't have no other choice but to admire the extent of your mental capacity. It's crazy. Because there are a lot of stuff there that I had fishing around in my mind with certain information that I was not sure of. And for somebody who basically went into the system in order to break it is a very intelligent way on going about doing it. And I wish a lot of people would. Because certain things that you say in pertaining to land, especially in the Port of Spain area, and a lot of other areas in Trinidad and Tobago, that we know if these people, especially these port areas, or these areas where easily viable for them to bring things in and out of the country, it's very easy for them to devalue you, make you believe that what you have is worth nothing. And they would take that in 5 years, and that would be a multi-billion-dollar place where you once lived. And you'll cry long tears for it. Just because you decided to probably take whatever it is they give you, which would be next to nothing, couple 100,000 over $1 million if you're so lucky. When these places worth $1 million, $10, $15 million when you check in, because if you check the prices of a lot of land, in some of the places that in the middle of Trinidad are going for $350,000. I talking about land, I'm talking about house. We're talking about one lot of land. You should see the prices, 250,000, 100 and something. I think the cheapest I see was about 97,000, and that is in the south area, nowhere close to a beach, nowhere close to any big housing development, nowhere close to any prime real estate to say like this place actually has this amount of value. So you can imagine somebody who live in a place like Ilots or Lavantel where they fill with guns, and the same people fill it with guns, the same people fill it with drugs, and then would make you believe that it was next to nothing. If a piece of land in the middle of Trinidad, not close to anything to make it valuable enough to be over 500,000, imagine how much one lot of land near the sea in Sea Lots would be. It's that's kind of crazy, man, boy. That's baffles me.
If you don't mind me saying, I see a commenter saying directly Lyndon is a boss, but he's hooking up himself with raw talk. I want to tell her two things, right? If Kitty decide in the morning that, you know what, I want to go and be a representative for my area, you know what the law says? She's eligible to run. I don't come here to give bias and be prejudiced against a system, right? The young lady who chooses that she wants to go for she wants to put herself in political life. The law backs us that says she's a citizen. She live here 3 years. If she wants to run, go and run. Don't let the system fool or let her believe that you have to have a master's degree and you have to have a bachelor's degree and you need to have this level of high intellect in order to go and be your representative. It's them people there who are your mouth or their eye every day and are fool or every day and taking the money every day and hiding their money in bank accounts internationally every day. That is what Eric Williams and them do directly. That's why they kill Selwyn Richardson. Okay? If a regular citizen decides that they want to be a representative, the law backs them. So I directly not giving prejudice to say that she's not eligible to run. She is because the law says that, not because I have my personal feeling about it. You understand?
And you don't like
don't have to like her. Just like there's one or two persons I do represent and I do support, but they also run in. I ain't see nobody talking about them, and this is what people need to understand. Because let me share with you something. Even right now, one candidate right now running under the current administration that we supporting. I don't support he, but I support the opposition leader making a choice to say, okay, choose him. But if literally wasn't for that, he would not be here today trying to run for the code. Or I need to wake up and plenty people, even when plenty people running after this man, you know what I went on by saying? No, something is wrong. Something is wrong. But people wasn't listening. So if the young lady wants to run, I see nothing wrong with her saying she wants to pick up herself a choice. People need to stop watching status and color and getting fooled with all of this nonsense.
I'm trying to figure out which one of the individuals you're talking about. If it's Snake Tongue or Mr. Arrogant.
Mr. Arrogant.
Oh God, well I don't know who you're talking about. I don't like him neither. He's too arrogant. Too much ignorance to be in the parliament.
At the end of the day, let me show you at the end of the day. All I saying is right now we're gonna fight a Game of Thrones moment. Right? If Kitty gonna be Daenerys Stemborn on a dragon, everybody had to know we had to fall into order in order to win. We're trying to form a collaboration now to move out the army of the dead so that they don't gain 5 years. That is the game that we're trying to fight now. All these small parties have come in. I'm not saying that they're not eligible to run. I'm not saying that for the people who saying they want a change, that you can't go and vote for your change. But the real question is your change going to win now? The answer is no, because they don't have the numbers. When you're running on a battlefield, you can't run on a battlefield literally not knowing. If you're running on a battlefield now, the difference between these kinds of political wars versus the Black Army of the wars during the Dark Ages is that kings knew how much armies they was running on the battlefield with 3,000 bannermen, 400 horsemen, spears. Everybody know this election. We are not running on that kind of information, so we're leaving it to chance. We just want to understand the difference and make a wise choice. And the choice is yours, however you want to swing. Right? But we just say, no, we are fighting for this wrongs, because we can't take another 5 years of this government.
Well, yeah, I mean, anybody stupid enough to dip the finger for that Come on, boy. Oh gosh, boy. You need a real hard balance, boy. Sorry to say it, but anytime you can dip your finger for that, no way. I get judged plenty times just because I am how do I say it? I am of well, I was a Trinidadian. I do like to say I have African descent because I was a Trinidadian, right? But I am what they would call of African descent, right? I don't want to use the word Creole neither because that would be in the wrong term, right? But I don't even want to use that deography. Nah. I'm trying to use the right term, but I don't even want to use certain words that they give to us now. But understand what I'm saying, right? I am one that they would call a black man, right? And I get judged a lot of times for being a PNM just because of my skin color. When I could guarantee and tell her for a fact I grew up in a UNC house. My mother was a UNC. I supported Clifton Dikoto the first time I could have voted. I dipped my finger for him. You understand? So it's nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with race. And if people still studying race, all of us going to suffer. Because I have a lot of, I grew up in a place called Indian Walk. I have so much Indian brethren who I could consider brothers. With them mother would never pass me side the road suffering where I could walk in and out of the place. I just walk straight in the house. Normal. I could call names of people too. I just go by the place normal, in and out the place. Normal. These people are not racial. Not everybody racial. And I noticed something is the older generation that's stuck in that racism part of this election and this both party and this government thing is mostly the older heads. Because the youths of today, a lot, and I don't want to say all, it might have one or two that got influenced by the older heads and they may have turned out that way. But a lot of them, at least 90% of the youth today, I don't think they care if it's a black man or an Indian running the country. Once it being run right and for the people. Because we don't really care who run the country. I personally don't care who run the country. I don't care who running it. As long as things are implemented and put in place to safeguard these citizens and make sure we get what we deserve, what we're supposed to, and we're able to live a comfortable lifestyle in order for us to be able to grow wealth. I'm not just talking about living paycheck to paycheck or able to build a house and make grocery. I'm talking about people being able to open businesses, people being able to push themselves forward, actually gain generational wealth. People think riches is having $2-3 million in the bank. That is not rich. I could spend 60 million US in a day. I buying 3 vehicles and that done. I'm sure about that. You understand me? So
I could say something,
generational
please.
wealth don't just come from.
Can I say something?
Go through listening.
Yeah, short and simple and sweet.
Yeah, go ahead.
When Trinidad and Tobago start practicing the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, then we would see peace and harmony in this country. Check up the 7 principles of Kwanzaa and see what it says concerning our people. And you would see what it says. And then you will understand why I'm quiet.
When you say
You're
our
talking
people, I'm
about
trying to
the
understand.
7
When I said our people, both Indian and African, and mixed colored races of people also.
Well, as I explained this, Indian people, Indian people, African people, I consider all of us melanated beings. I mean, well, Miss Kitty, you don't know my level of heights on certain things already. I consider all of us melanated beings. In my mind, I don't even are Indian and African and I don't think on
no, the reason why I'm telling you the words is Indian and African descent is because I could get banned and now come out because of
exactly. That is why I use those terminologies.
Yeah.
Well, right. So, like I said, them things don't exist to me. I just see all of us as melanated people. That's how I see it. Kitty, you don't know where I stand on my points when it comes to them things.
And you're correct, because if they go outside of Trinidad,
all are we black, boy?
All are we black? When they outside of Trinidad,
you know what they just call an Indian when they go to America? They just call them Paki.
Black.
So, and Paki means black. That's what it is. So even if we saying Indian and African, that is what your actual racial background supposed to be. Indian and African. Do you even know that the word Indian means caste? So if you say West Indian, it's obvious. You're saying Western caste, meaning that the West, which is America and Europe and these countries, have a hand in the Caribbean,
Okay,
meaning
so
Western caste.
Where's the meaning of the word Africa, and where did that word come from?
First to begin with, the word Africa came from a Roman general known as Africanus. The origin.
Well, right. So none of us should
Right.
be called
So
Africans
no, you
either.
ask my question, let me answer. You can't cut me when I answer.
No, because I
Right?
know the answer
And-
to it, so I don't know where you're going.
Let me finish now, boy.
Hold
Please
on
and
now.
thanks.
No, I
But you
said
asked my
something and
question,
you
let me
answered.
finish.
Hold on. You said
But
something.
we detail
Right?
this. You asked my question, let me finish.
Hey,
Answer the question.
Hey, you said something and I told you.
Big man, but let me finish. I ain't finish. Answer the question. You asked my question, is only fair. Right? Is a Roman general known as Africanus because the original name for Africa is Alkebulan. It was also known as Ethiopia and Kemet and Kos. But the original name is Alkebulan.
Right.
Anything else, sir?
Well, right. So that's why I'm telling you. I know where you was going with that, and none of us should.
Nice to bad.
Africans.
Yeah.
That's why I don't even like to use some 90% of these terms that have existing today, because it was corrupted from the past in order to continuously brainwash melanated people, because the only people
Correct is right.
The only people brainwashed on the face of the earth is melanated people. I'm just being honest.
You know, I just wanted to share a point with you, all right? Basically, this that going on in Trinidad is nothing new, you know. A lot of people don't understand that. It's something that's going on all over the world, all along in Africa is the same thing. They just put leaders there as representatives, and they suck all the resources of the country. You understand?
Let me tell you something, right?
Show people now who it is doing it and all these things. I mean, you're watching it as Syrian, but as I said before, it's not going on just in Trinidad. It's going on all over the world. That organization.
Exactly, and Trinidad and Tobago government have to answer to the powers that be in the world.
Exactly.
So they don't just
It's
run
an
and vote and give away
organization,
power.
you know. It's
I
one,
was trying to tell all you, but no,
one
it's
organization, but there's plenty organizations within that organization. And
let me call names. Let me call some names here. Let me call some names. Bilderbergs, Trilateral Commission, CIA, FBI.
Hey, hold on now.
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Discreet.
Vanguard,
Wait. But don't call them names.
Rockefeller. Discreet. Discreet. All I hear me, right? I'm going and come off the live now. And I'm going and say one thing. You see them names you're calling there?
Yeah.
Them is families that spend hundreds of years implementing the plan to brainwash melanated people.
Correct.
And up to today,
That's so true.
So when you think,
hold on. Let me finish before I go. And then great, so on and so on, grandchildren is the same people still following that law and order today. The only living beings on the face of the earth that don't have a backing is melanated people. Everybody else have a backing.
Correct.
Is melanated people.
When you think you're voting for Kamala and PNM and UNC and any other party that come after them, you're not voting for them. You are voting for the...
I think somebody who related to the is different. What happened with Kamala and them different to that order. They're not aware of the order. Kamala and them not aware.
Jack Warner made them. Jack Warner made them aware of the order when he said there was a ring within a ring.
Yeah, but you were saying, right?
No, they're different. They're different. The PNM have a well, Manning tried to get away from it, you know, because when he realized what was going on, he tried to get away. You understand? But then they choose this one to spearhead it. You understand? So basically, these people who are saying who are calling 1%, these are not 1%.
No, them is just puppet.
Them is people that was placed here. They were placed here. You would call them puppet, but they're not puppets. They're working for a system, as I said before.
Right.
You're working
Look
for
up
order.
group.
Let me tell you something. You know why them important in Trinidad and Tobago? Because they are working for the powers that be in the wider world. So it only seems
them
to
is
us.
representatives.
Yeah, them is representatives.
Come here.
It's our government behind the government, the United Nations.
I'm gonna cause a little
it's
problem.
It's 300 men that rule in this world behind United Nations.
Anybody know what terraforming is?
Yeah, that is something to do with dealing with the demographics of the earth, where they're digging into the earth to take the soul of the earth, the planet.
Nope. So terraforming is basically using one planet energy to turn it into an existing
Big
planet.
man, it is the same thing. I now tell you.
God, give me a minute now. That's the thief. You talking about the soul and thing, but here what I say now. That's why I'm breaking it down in a simple way. That's why you understand, right? These people that placed here in Trinidad sent here to terraform. It's the same way they send them everywhere across the world to terraform.
Everywhere across the world. Exactly. That's what people not understanding. The everywhere across the world, all down in Africa, they're doing the same thing.
They call them the reptilians.
Same thing.
Call them the reptilians.
Listening to you back, I hear
the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
You're not wrong. You're
all
not wrong.
over the world they sent.
Discreet, you're not wrong.
Representative.
You said concerning about using and stealing the energy of the planet. It is correct. I just wanted to break it down in a simpler sense now, boy.
In a simpler form, yeah,
Right?
yeah. I don't be on your live, you know, King.
So terraforming is the same thing.
In a simpler form,
Same thing. They send all these people them on all these different islands and all these different continents across the world. They send them to terraform to eat out what it have to make their empire way bigger than it is. And it had empires existing long before.
King,
these empires that it have now.
King, stick up in there. Let me show you something where we blind.
No, but wait, a lot of people don't understand what's going on now.
Let me show you something.
Them have so much reserve. Them take generations to get their plan in action.
Yeah. Rowley and them is just pawns, you know. They just the house, the house person to get things done as a representative of them.
Just tell all that,
something. Just now,
listen to what I say now. These adults here, I find for some adults, we just can't understand to talk one at a fucking time. It's very irritating trying to hear everybody trying to force on people here and people talking and still yet trying to talk over them. It just makes the shit feel fucking messed up with the people in the comments listening. Remember that we're trying to understand. Understand?
Correct. Let me tell you something we all have to understand, right? When people say they're not voting, it's not that they don't want change in the country, you know. It's not that they have a problem with either party, you know. It's a higher order that goes on in this country. There are people who selling the soul of the country in the night doing ritualistic things, right? When you are asleep, there are people doing things. The night is more active than the day. And all you feel is just about voting for either PNM or UNC. I don't give a shit about PNM. I don't give a shit about UNC. I don't give a shit about no politics.
Dog, you don't give a shit about the world. You don't give a shit about nobody. You're selfish. And you have...
Are you selfish? Well, all right.
Because at the end of the day, dog, people like all this show is what has bring destruction to our fucking place. Sorry for
seriously. All right, no problem.
No, for real. It's bring destruction to our place. You can't tell me, dog. You see any fucking problems what going on, and you don't give a shit about this, and you don't give a shit about that.
There's a problem going on more than 20 years.
What are you
that going on long time?
What are you doing?
And we keep
what
saying,
going on and what? Okay, what are you doing to rectify, to fix this problem? Because
we said that 5 years ago. What we did? Are we 20 times more in the future?
You are not making decisions with all of us. What are you doing? Make sure that crime and make sure that people
get it is not going to change.
What are you doing?
Voting for a government not going to change crime.
This feature wrong.
Stop talking about the government.
Okay, well, all right.
You don't give a shit about the fucking government because they are bad. What are you doing?
Discreet. I will tell you this one thing, right? And I will listen to me very
carefully. Answer, man.
No. Yeah, I understand. Kitty. When you go on
hey, wait, I'm talking right now. I want this kid to answer, man. I need you to answer, man. Because it have plenty use. What are you doing Do not talk about the UNC and the PNM because you don't give a shit that you're not fucking voting. What are you doing to make the children of the church training time to come be comfortable in that place? What is your...
When are we going to be comfortable? When?
Wait,
when?
Don't answer that question. What's that question? I'll show you more common sense on that. What are you doing? This is what I want to know.
I don't need to do nothing in a corrupt system because you know why everybody corrupt.
That was your input doesn't matter. Your input.
Discreet gathering information and not
well, I respect all of views. I respect all of views. Whether the government change or not, the problem is going to remain the same.
Discreet. And that's why I hear me, because I go in there now, I go in and smoke a weed. I really live in the life there now. Gathering information and not implementing it in your life is a waste of time. So knowing that the place is fucked up and doing nothing about it, that's a waste of time, brother. I'm being real honest with you. If you know the place fucked up, and in we country, the way to get certain things done is by voting in and out of government in order to get certain laws changed, in order to get certain laws passed, in order to get certain things done. And by you knowing one government is fucking up and not dipping your finger to vote for anybody else but them, is a waste of time. You're gathering information and you're not implementing it.
Yep.
Big man.
You're allowing the same system to take control.
Same government all yellow is the code.
If you sit down and you read that
5 years before.
5 years straight.
Government, they don't give a shit about them.
Well, okay. At the end of the day,
can I say something? Can I say something?
Be the same.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. Let me. But hold on. Let me just say this. When Kamala was in power, right? The vote out PNM began to say,
and they say the same thing.
Kamala, hold on, because Kamala would have do better. When Kamala did make some sacrifices, because that's what she did. She made some sacrifices to make us better. They didn't like them thing. Let me tell you something about Trinidadians. Even Tobagonians, but more Trinidadians. You can't please them. Let me tell you something. You do good, they see something bad in it. You do bad, well, go the bash in your tail. And but I will say this, y'all. I will say this. This year, you see this election coming up here, all you had to vote. Discreet, you had to vote. Let me tell you, you're my boy, man, you real good. But let me tell you why you have to vote, my brother. Because if that Chinese man come back, they don't make him prime minister without even an election, which is real wrong. They're not even supposed to be doing that. No, this election is the most. Hold on. I know you understand, King, but hold on. This election is the most important election of all elections. This election determines how the next 5 years is going to go. That Chinese man is going to make Venezuela and China take over Trinidad. You understand?
No, hold on.
That Chinese man not supposed to be there. Wait, hold on, wait. Let me finish. This country, I'm not being on no race, but this country is based on two races, East Indians and Africans. The Chinese and them, they force themselves over here and they do the thing. The Venezuelan and them force themselves with the help of Raulaya and his comrades. They bribe the Coast Guard and they bring in the shit and they come over here. Next thing you hear, they gain papers and all kind of thing over here. I have a friend, she daughter can even start primary school in September coming because why? Venezuelans have taken over the little schools and them. We're not getting what we deserve over here. And then people talking about the red and the ready, my ass. You understand? I put my finger on the rising sun. I'm sorry. Real people don't vote, you know.
Yep.
And that is what is
because
causing
they
the demand.
understand what is the
Because there's one
program,
group of
the
people
programming.
that vote in on the
All
program.
right. All right, wait, hold on. So let me say 100% of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago decide not to go and vote for election. Now we have wait, hold on. Now we have no government.
You really feel it crashing because of PNM and you.
But you know I can't stand, but you know what?
Bluetooth connected. Bluetooth disconnected. Bluetooth connected.
Both-sided. And yes,
earlier
on,
when man and nobody doesn't believe me when I say this. Yeah, but nobody does believe me when I say this. When man they tell we don't vote for Rowley and say, oh, people that are raging bull in power, we will see hard times, and we had to be mad to put this man in power. What happened to Rowley a few later? What's the Manning?
If I tell you something,
you know what?
When Manning spoke about Rowley, you know he wasn't directly talking about Rowley, right? He was talking about the people pulling the strings. That's the people Manning was trying to run from. And you know, if Rowley got in power, these people would be able to pull his strings. That's why Rowley could do all the shit that he did.
And what make you feel it different for Kamala?
Huh?
What make you feel that it's different for Kamala?
Come on, dog, but everybody
it's the same thing we're going on with. It's the same thing we're going on in America.
Everybody
and the same thing going on in Africa,
Bluetooth
and the same thing going on in Canada, and the same thing going on in every country.
You come for
it's going on all over the world. That's how the government does run all over the world.
Exactly. So
this is how the government does run all over the world. But the idea is that you cannot be having a puppet master pulling a string. You have all this brain and knowing, hey, I get my strings pulled, but are they also thieving? Why you think that a thief and put in their pocket? But you see the thief thieving and the thief not giving back to the fucking poor. The thief not doing nothing. You understand? Kamala's do something. That's the difference. She does something. You're being very biased and you're being a hypocrite and very
Yeah.
I mean everything that Ole would say I am. But when it had the SOE and only 11 murders, right?
Just complain and bash. That's all they're doing. Just bashing.
We all complain in Trinidad and Tobago. But when Kamala and them was in power,
last year, yeah, but this quick, you know that last year was, yeah, but last year was, yes, but last year was the bloodiest.
We're going to win the election.
Last year was the bloodiest.
Murder rate in Egypt, right? When they wanted to get rid of our minister, a prime minister.
Last year, under Fitzgerald, he didn't do nothing.
In Egypt, when they wanted to get rid of our prime minister, you know what they did? They didn't go up on the radio station and cry and quarrel and complain and come on TikTok and talk, you know what it is? They picket fences in front of the parliament as people, citizens of the country. We don't do them thing.
Good afternoon.
Imagine you have to write a letter. Imagine you have to write a letter to the police to exercise your own freedom to protest. Shit.
Well, I was not going to tell you that, but all that is due to what? The Constitution, my boy.
That's all.
You see them doing that in England?
The Constitution causes that.
I want to say that as a black man, I'm not too sure who to vote for in this election. But I tend to be leaning a little more to the PNM, because if I say that Rowley do stupidness and PNM mismanage the affairs of the country, you know, the PNM people would say, well, no. So, you know, but if I say UNC and Kamala did stupidness when they was in power, and you know, the Indian people would start to call me monkey and black and stupid and try to throw racial slurs at me. So as a black man, I having a problem to vote for UNC under these conditions because the black people I doesn't see them in comment section calling Indian
I don't see it.
Racist name now, but
I don't see it.
Why are you voting on race? Steady everybody.
I don't see it.
I see more the Indian people calling
There are a
black
lot of
people.
there are a lot of disgusting African people out there you wouldn't believe. I don't see that.
I don't see that.
I don't see that. Let me ask you something, King. King, let me ask you something.
That's the minority.
That's
the minority. It's the minority.
I know some African people.
For me. I win the election.
Listen to me?
Yes, I am.
I will tell you. All of us are perfect. You might be racial, I might be racial. Some people be racial. These are things as time go along, we have to try to fix. It can't. We will try. This is something we have to try to fix. But this is what I'm doing.
Right?
You cannot go out there making decisions. We cannot be making decisions on feelings, on how we feel about ourselves when people tell us something about it. Because if you're really
But if somebody constantly calling you a black, stupid monkey, how you could vote for them?
Sweetie, listen to me. Are you a monkey? Are you a monkey?
Kitty, let me tell him something there.
Yes, just now that
But then I don't hear that the leaders correcting them.
I'm talking and I get to talk. And I see hosts. That just, I don't know, it's not that kind of work. We're not playing that game today. Right? I want people to really truly get to understand themselves, because really and truly, let me be real, are you a monkey? Global? I ask you. Even if you're a monkey, let me be real, that is not even something funny. That's something that is a part of life that we're supposed to love and blah, blah, blah. We're thinking factually, right? You cannot make decisions off of your personal feelings of how people make you feel. Being smart, wisdom. You have to be wise. You have to open your eyes. These things, racialism is things that, I don't want to go too deep into that fair here right now, but racialism is something that we created. That's something we created. The Indians, the East Indians of Trinidad and Tobago, the same way how you would see those things, you just blinded by one side. You only seen that side, but I could tell you. Let me sing a song for you. But we African descendants used to sing to me. And we just laugh at it. To the East Indian brothers and sisters. Coolie, coolie, come for roti, all the roti done. Nigga, pull the trigger, all the coolie run. We inject fear in them. And you might sit down and might say, I never hear that plenty, we know that. And it have plenty many others, but the thing about it, we always tend to get defensive quick. We just call our own self nigga and look, hey, and see, the man black. The man so black, he only see the teeth, and we go laugh about it. But if an East Indian say the same thing, they will be ridiculed and called that racist. Let us be fair. Let's be fair about this. So this is what I'm telling you. The PNM does not care about us. And Ollie, I know you know this. I know a lot of Ollie know this. But I know the fear that this is the fear that people put in Ollie and have instilled in our minds is making us make bad decisions. We cannot make bad decisions like this because we are children to live here. The place is not nice. Look at China. Look at Japan. How the country is so evolved, so beautiful. Auntie Kamala was doing that, and she only had 5 years. I'm not saying that she's perfect. I'm not saying that Rowdy them is perfect, but they have a certain thieves, and if you want to call them thieves, well, whatever what thief, just make sure they thief and give to the poor, because here what going on. They know that we need something at the bottom floor here too. To buy, we need cheese. The PNM, they do not do that. They make life hard. The same AGC house that I am living in used to be 1,200. Now it's 3,700 because they have no rent to own. Man create these AGC houses. Also poor people cannot afford this. You are telling you, because if you don't even have a little change in the bank and you go to ask your financial institution to pay for this house, you're going to get turned down. There are people being put out of their homes because they cannot get a change over to mortgaging. The PNM government does nothing. And it's our own race of people if we're going under that. We need to change these things. This is something that we need to change. We mindset is first. We are mentally slaved for so long. It is a sad thing. Because we can create so much and
work on some yoga.
Kitty, let me say something.
Everything is strategy out here, but all they don't have no strategy, or they just running the country straight down, and then all they go say, way better we do this, way better we do that, when it might be too late. And every time the UNC get a chance to come in the country, which is only twice, they run. Or they vote them out because all they want to see a black man on the pedestal. That's just wrong because all are we black. The only black party.
Kitty,
let me tell you something.
Let
me say something.
Yeah, that's not yoga. Right. The only time I really see real change and real progress is when one, Patrick Manning was in power, two, Basil Manning was in power. Right? Basil Manning and Patrick Manning were the ones with the vision. I have not seen that with UNC.
Nothing
and I have
on that
not seen that with PNM. Right?
Or UNC.
Both of them is the same thing. If we look on the news, right? All we're seeing is exchange. Look at one of these ministers, former ministers from PNM coming over to UNC, and all the people from UNC going over to PNM. All they really think is really it's not making no sense. Two of them is the same thing. Two of them is the same thing. Not same. Look at when Kamala was in power. All they heard on the news that she gave a brood 4 acres of land for $1 per year. $7 million in gas that she spent for she helicopter. $400 million in scaffolding. Nothing was done. Right? For me, it's the same thing as a young person.
Don't even talk about the national flag where she fixed and how much money she spent on it.
As a young person that growing up under the PNM and that grew up under UNC as well, I did not see a difference. The country went nowhere. We have no diversification in the country.
Then,
when you really check it,
I don't know
where they living. No, we don't know.
We're not that rough because I tell you, they don't see any difference.
Because here why?
We as young people suffering. We can't even get proper jobs out here. You understand? We as young people, again, I feel like the older has so out of tune with the younger generation that is coming up behind all there, that we're afraid to see that this tribalist mentality will get us nowhere. We have other
I think you meant to say draconian.
Nah. But we have other viable options. Look at Tobago. Tobago votes on what can be done for the country. You see Tobago as a PNM struggle or a UNC struggle? No.
Yeah,
they vote on what is better for the country. Why Trinidad is kind of
every 5 years? Every 5 years is the same thing. PNM UNC. All like a chessboard.
It's a food mentality. They using this here to bribe people. And what people to get 25 voters. And want to bribe people for $300 for the food. And what can I shop with us $500 for the thing?
Yes, it has
so it's
NTA,
bribery.
and it has APP,
always
and it has all the rest, and it has IPL, and it has all the rest of parties. Yes. Listen, Yes, it have those parties, but those parties are not strong enough like UNC and PNM. They do not have the stronghold that these two main
Why?
parties have.
So
For years,
Trinity,
Miss,
let me ask
for
you a question.
years, it has been PNM and UNC.
Let me
For
ask you a
And that is
years.
question.
point.
Trinity, let me ask you a question, right? In 1991, right, when NAR was in power and PNM was in power, right? Didn't only give UNC a chance when Basil Pandey was coming up, and he was our third party.
Girl, I don't know, I was
Didn't you, wait.
I
Didn't
was
you
2
give
years
him a
old.
chance? Didn't you give him a chance? And didn't he run the
Yes,
country
Basil Pandey did
properly?
get a chance.
And
Yes.
didn't he run the
And
country
Basil
properly?
Pandey was the prime minister, brought the food
Yeah,
bias
that's
and
not-
everything in.
Hold up.
Only was the same ones who vote for the NAR and the PNM vote for the NAR.
Listen. Sweetie, you're not being fair. The UNC never got a fair chance. Every time, the UNC only come in power here twice. The PNM is the longest reigning party that run through that into the ground. When they vote the PNM out and bring in Mr. Basil Pandey, this is the only prime minister, as a matter of fact, first prime minister to raise old age pension was Mr. Basil Pandey, and then Kamala. These people did not get a fair chance. They got 5 years and they still did plenty within the 5 years. But every time these people are trying to build back the country, the racialism thing start back, and they're going to look to vote out UNC for PNM Day because they was see an African man on the pedestal. That is all I just see. I've been watching the game. I never
You know what killing me is the fact that when Basil Pandey handed over the UNC party to Kamala, right? Mind you, Basil Pandey and his brother.
He didn't hand over the UNC party to Kamala. Kamala
handed it
stole the
over to
party from him.
Kamala. Well, if you want to say she stole it, I agree. I agree she stole it.
He stole it.
No, he didn't steal it. He handed it over to Kamala.
He manipulated them and steal it. That's why his daughter don't like her. Then we talk the facts here.
No. That is not what happened.
Amber, if you know
that is not what happened.
If you know she steal it, right?
That is not what happened. That is not what happened. First of all, Basil Pandey handed over.
Right? If you know she steal it, why don't you think that Kamala don't do like Rowley and step down and let Makela Pandey come and
But this is
run
what I said. Discreet. You know, I just always discreet. Even though I was vote for UNC, discreet. Even though I would vote for UNC, I've been telling people this. I tell Kitty that already. I said, why Kamala don't step down? I never tell her one time. I want UNC. Listen. I want UNC.
Give her a chance.
No,
give her
but
a
let me
chance.
tell you this.
She was an MP. Give she a chance.
I want UNC. Listen, I want UNC to win. But I will say this, and I'll go get vexed with me. As long as Kamala is opposition leader of the UNC will never win an election.
It will have problems. I'm telling all you that.
This
will
woman,
never
I
win.
don't get to know like if this woman didn't dry out the treasury too.
Well, I don't know.
And treasury and she give back. What call him in?
$1 million and send it
you know what I like
English
about
bank account.
You know what I like about Ole? You know what I like about Ole? Only Kamala do. Because call him member $3 billion and nobody ain't saying nothing about it.
Nobody is saying
$3 billion gone.
English bank account.
I would always go on
give back. How you give back what not in the treasury?
You say his son gone used to go university.
How you give back what not in the treasury? Make that make sense.
For real.
You can't give back something that is not there.
Your young stepdaughter was in gang banging. God's ammunition, drugs, nothing that talk about that.
I agree.
You understand? So you bully somebody 3 years ago. Up to now,
and even so that case
why not put somebody that not experienced in thieving to run to help run the country, that had experience in ministerial, I won't say ministerial, but MP roles? Why not put somebody that have the proper training from the right leaders in power?
Let me add to that now, Amber. When she gave herself silk without even getting going through the right process, how nobody didn't talk about that?
Real. I want to know.
When she took her diplomatic passport to travel to go and see Buckingham Palace and the Queen.
Right.
That, like if that running away, how nobody didn't talk about that, and the same people control Trinidad.
First of all, Rowley took his passport. Rowley took his passport and went to the Queen too. Rowley took his passport.
That doesn't mean
Rowley took his passport and everybody. Only on the camera. What shall Rowley do too?
I am saying the same thing about him. I am saying the same thing.
Okay. All right, hold on. So if everybody agree that the both parties is thief, why it is Michaela can't get she foot in the door? Because I want. If you go on my account, I voted for Michaela election.
Let me tell you something, right? Let me tell you something. Michaela was there. Do you know what Michaela father planned? Let me tell you what Mr. Pande was there.
Michaela is low-key PNM, and I only know one time.
How? Michaela is low-key PNM.
Okay, prove that.
I want you to prove to me. Because look yesterday, Keith Scotland went up in Laugh and Tell, right? And me and my man was wearing on a patriotic front jersey, right? And he come up and say, "Don't come and take the numbers." We say, "Why don't come and take the numbers? Them is patriotic front. We don't deal with them." You know, Kareem Master come and tell we all they don't stand a chance. We not singing with all you. Don't come around in the areas. You understand what I'm telling all you? But what PNM all they talking about? Just because we not mud slinging nobody and talking about nobody.
Prove that.
Okay. They
fighting for APP and Patriotic Front.
Nobody, I not fighting for
parties. Nobody, two main parties is UNC and PNM.
And I need us to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, but all right, hold on.
Younger generation with that kind of mindset.
1 second. First thing, the UNC has never won an election on their own. And therefore,
that is a lie.
Hold on.
That is a lie.
Hold on. They had them. I want you to go and do your research. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to me.
Pan join with somebody to win.
Go and do your research for yourself now, but I don't have to tell you nothing. If I lie,
Big man, that is a lie. You know why that is a lie? Because Pandey and Manning went head on, and Pandey beat Manning in an election once already, or twice.
Listen to what I'm saying, right? I am speaking about hold on. I should have clarified myself. I'm speaking about in now times, right? I'm not talking about when.
Well, speak right.
You're right. You're right. But now times you are right.
Right. So I am wrong for what it is I said in the past.
Correct is right. So don't talk that talk.
Wait, hold on, brother. I tell you, I am not a person that does not take constructive criticism. So don't ball at me.
I am all too.
So just listen to what I'm saying, right? UNC Kamala had to team up on more than one occasion to even get she foot in the door.
Exactly.
You understand me? Nobody willing. Everybody say.
Bluetooth connected.
certain talking and be trying to wake up the majority, you understand? There's distorted because remember, there's not only 15 people listening or 50 people listening. It's like
That's not
millions of
they are
people
going
on the For
to
You
come
page
out and
listening.
come back because I ain't hearing nobody.
So Kitty, and you hearing me, eh?
Yep.
Right. There's the story live when certain talking, right? Certain keywords they're listening for, and once they hear them keywords, there's the story live. This is not the first time I see them doing this. I've been on my life, on people life who talking truths and who uplifting the people and informing the people of the right knowledge, and there's a story live. There's make the host feel is the Wi-Fi giving trouble. Let's make we feel is we Wi-Fi or we data giving trouble, and knowing that them listening to we and distorting the live when they hear certain keywords. Right? So let's be aware of that. They don't want the truth to be out there. So they will always distort this live. They are about the second time this live get distorted this morning. I on the live all morning. I joined when she came on the live. I was the first person to join the box. And I seen it from since the get-go. So you had to be observant out there, you know. You can't just be talking, you have to be watching too. You understand? You have to be observant.
Yeah, that's facts.
Yeah. And that's what we Trini not doing, you know. We just talking, but we not observing what's going on now.
Yeah.
Your eyes is the windows to your soul, right? And as Richie Spice say, what the heart don't see, no, and what the eye don't see, the heart don't grieve. So if you're seeing injustice going on, it will grieve you inside. It will grieve you inside, and that's what the government doing we. They're doing we things what we could see with your own two eyes. And that grieving we inside. That is why we always expressing and always venting now. If we invent, we'll go mad, you know. If we leave all this tension inside the brain, we will go mad because we gotta let it out. Every day we getting oppressed, and the oppression will lead us to depression, and we don't want to reach to that state. Because after depression is despair, that when you're going to hang yourself and commit suicide. So you're trying to avoid depression. Anxiety and depression is a serious thing, so we have to avoid that now. You understand?
I agree.
So we are Trinis.
Nothing on that seven.
This street, you're something muffled there, boy. We can't hardly hear you.
It's me who talking, girl.
No, they're here. This.
Yeah, man, right here. We old school, parents and them grew up on that type of music, and that type of music was talking about slavery and colonization and everything. So Sparrow and Kitchener and all them rest of artists from that time in the program, we parents already and we grandparents already. So them staying with that thinking. Keeping that thinking. That thinking not coming out of them.
Yep.
Them
Bluetooth
one die with that
disconnected.
same thinking.
Yep. And a
So
lot of
we can't afford them.
Yeah, we can't afford them for real, and I agree with you on that.
We can't afford them.
Yeah, but let me tell you something, right? Let me draw a reference, an old reference of a slave, right? Of a slave. Why we still in the slave mentality? It doesn't matter party. And I hear all you talking about racialism and thing. Let me correct you on something. Everybody in the entire world is racial, and I will explain why. Racialism is the color of your skin. The problem that we have is racism, a discrimination of the color of your skin. So when you say you're racial, you're literally describing the color of your skin. When you say you're racist, you have a discrimination against somebody who have a color of the skin. That is for the people who understand the two differences in the terminologies, right? And at the end of the day, when it comes down to the system and how things are running, there once was an African slave known as Nat Turner. He hold one of the biggest revolt in African slavery, right? And
I remember. Yeah, he
right,
story.
Right. And one of the things he did when he go to free the slaves and them, he asked them, "How many of you all want your freedom?" Right?
And he was a watch, stop. And he was a pastor too, right? And he was a pastor too, right? And he was a pastor too, right?
I think
yes,
so.
He was a pastor. Yes, he was a pastor.
Right. So
he was a pastor
he
too.
say all who want to be free, come on the right hand side. 1,000 slaves he was speaking to. And 1,000 slaves now, 999 came on the right hand side and one remained in front of them. Right? And you know what it is he told the 999? And it's still existing to this day, whether we voting for whatever party. He said, in order for you to get all the freedom, or rather annihilate or unalive the one that's standing in front of you. Because that one in front of you would be the downfall of the many. Ooh. And right about now, in Trinidad and Tobago, doesn't matter what government it is, whoever we choose to vote for will always be the downfall of the many. So I'll leave in that with all you. So when all you feel, I think about I want to be PNM or I want to be UNC, I see any bigger picture. I about country, I know about party.
Facts.
Right? And for the person who think that I am a hoarder with the knowledge that I have, I would rather be a hoarder than die an abject slave. Thank you very much. And I still love you. We all are hoarders.
No.
Because the last time I checked, what all they do overstand is that when the Europeans and them went to Africa, in order to get the slaves out of Africa, one of the things that they did, they gave them the Bible and they take their mind. So I rather be a hoarder than to be an abject slave. If them come and they put a knife to my neck and tell me vote, that me voting. I telling you, you want to kill me. Well, unalive, so sorry.
You rather be a field slave than be a house slave.
Well, if that is what it takes to survive, and still try to have to find my freedom while being a field slave, yes. Because the house slave does not have the opportunities that the field slaves have.
You remember the field slave, he's seeing freedom. And the house slave, he not seeing freedom, he under the master. He had to clean, wash, cook, iron, everything for the master.
You ever watch a movie called Emancipation? Called Bye Bye with Will Smith?
Yeah. Emancipation there.
Yeah, no, Emancipation is the name of the movie.
No, it's Independence Day.
Not that. That have nothing to do with slavery. I'm talking about Emancipation, the movie.
Emancipation? Nah.
Watch that movie with Will Smith, and you might gain some insight into what I'm talking about. Another movie you need to watch too, where they make over, is Django with Jamie Foxx and the whitey so-called dentist who was trying to get the freedom of the blacks. The name of the movie is Django.
Alright. This movie was shown some years ago. The Creator. You watch that movie?
Which movie?
The Creator.
Nah.
Right. Go and pull up that movie. You starting up at the movie. Say like about 50 minutes into the movie or 20 minutes. It have a pool scene. A pool scene with the black man and a white general woman. She going and let him know which party he come from.
Wait now.
As African.
Let me show you something and all too, right? I'm not here to try to take away nobody belief system, you know. I just here to open people's eyes. Based on the choice. To open people's eyes based on the choices that they're making. And for the very reason that sometimes the choices that we make, there's be the choices will hang us like a jack in all fools.
So true.
I agree with everything you say, no problem. I agree with everything.
Me disagree.
And let me tell you something, right? You know we are three eyes, right? Three eyes. The voting public. We have three eyes. We have the spiritual eyes. So if you go in order to vote, you have to use your three eyes. Your two eyes to see what's going on in the physical, and your spiritual eyes to discern what's going on in the spiritual compared to what's going on in the physical, so you'll get a better understanding, understanding. Because
so true.
And respect due to the voting public and all the choices, at the end of the day, I don't even support that man in that picture, so don't even bother with that. I could tell you history about that man. So don't even bother. Yeah, and that, let me tell you something. Let me just get a speed clip. A speed clip on Jehovah's Witness. Imagine, right? Imagine all you start a religious movement, and all the head of the religious movement is a slave master, and in order to start the congregation they use African slaves, but all you worshiping Jehovah's Witness. Make it make sense. Let me get the name. John T. Russell. Go and look it up.
Yeah, I hear about it already.
I'm not talking thing just because I feel. I'm not talking thing just because I feel I want to follow this one and follow that one. You know. I'm not talking them thing just so. I talking them thing because those are things that happen. You want me to religiously devote my entire life span, my earthly lifespan, to one order on the planet, when for 400 years people suffered and died and thrown overboard and all kind of things.
With the lynch too?
With the Willie Lynch lynching.
Yeah,
all they went Timberland. All they went Timberland boots. All they went the Timberland boots and all they didn't understand the symbol was the symbol of the slave that hung from a timber tree. We doing things.
One thing I would say earlier, when it concerns when all they're going out there to vote, is to remember that these people is servants to all. They are called to work in the public sector. They are the ones to work for you. You all are the employers. I just want all to know that they are just there to manage all the resources.
Amber,
I'm sorry. I can't vote for APP, you know. I find APP is a clown party.
Me too.
No, I'm not saying.
Wait now, who you talking about?
is a clown party.
That's a joker.
Like Giselle Jackson party. That is a clown party for me. I put somebody like Raw talk to me. You put somebody like Raw talk to me. MP come now, man. Be real. Let me be real. Let me be real.
And here what she do now, she put a chow man. She put chow man 868 chow to be a part of she party too. You think I going to take them serious? I don't want to take them serious.
That's a clown party. I'm not good. I get no votes. I am.
Hey, let me tell you something. When you break down all of them had their little problems. But at the end of the day, we both know the fight is between either PNM or UNC. And I am quite sure.
Of course.
I am quite sure
PPP might get
that
3
nobody,
votes or 2 votes.
I am quite sure, whether my opinion matters or not, I am quite
they're
sure.
going to the same at that. And they're going to the same party that all they claiming or they don't like PNM or UNC. So it don't make sense. They're cutting up the votes. So they're just trying to slow down something that is inevitable. It's going to happen.
That been happening from inception.
But you know, listen. But you know who I blame for this voting? You know who I blame for this? You know I blame for this race thing? Let me tell you who I blame for this race thing. I blame we ancestors for this race thing. I blame we grandmothers and we great-grandmothers. I remember. No, wait, hold on. I remember my grandmother used to tell my sisters and them, this is a PNM house. This is a PNM house, and they can't vote for no other than PNM. And if they vote for PNM, get out.
And I tell
her,
my grandma listen to the same thing.
What I am saying, no, they play the game and point to figure that the grandmother.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is all here because all the grandmother and them done dead and gone.
Done brainwash we grandparents already with them songs.
Them thing that's me. Yeah, but Kitty, them thing that's been still in here. Them things has been still in your Kitty.
It's every time. You pick up a lighter.
Sparrow them ready know what I was doing.
You keep picking up the lighter for it to burn, yeah? You come to the front door. Somebody always slap you to the front door. You come to the front door every morning because you come off of work. No, you go to the back door. You go take all that slap and then ship in. You understand? That's why I said it. I always like this source. If it's one thing, that's why I don't already deal up with the Jesus Christ thing. Because nobody is telling me I can't talk to my creator on my own. I understand I'm not saying with Jesus Christ. You must be mad. Get out of here with that crap. That is crap. I know the main factor is PNM and UNC. And these people go and hurt all their feelings. When all they go and say, well, yes, I voted APP. And yes, I played the patriotic party. The same patriotic party going and join up at the end. When they realize, hey, 2 more seats and the UNC going and win. It's a serious situation.
Amber, I sorry me and we in person, but when the election done, I want to knock a bottle with your girl so that we go watch and see how it break down.
Well, let me tell you this now. If ever Patriotic Front join up with anybody, first of all, let me just say,
no, they have to.
Wait.
When
Michaela went to Kamla. When Michaela went to Kamla. Wait now. When Michaela went to Kamla. Michaela Pandey.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Michaela went to UNC, right? Because I'm telling you, he said it on a press conference when she went there. Do you know what Kamla told her? She don't want no parts of the Pandays in the UNC.
What?
That is what she said.
Wait.
Right?
Let me press over that.
Of the Pandays, mind you. As your Panday was
so
the one in the UNC, yeah? She wants no parts of the Pandays.
Had some beef with Panday.
Because you know why?
Okay.
Because you know why?
She had some beef.
Kabbalah is the word Kabbalah. Because you know why Kabbalah plot and she do and overthrow Panday to get the UNC. Exactly. Kabbalah didn't win UNC fair and square.
Yeah, but
Kabbalah went UNC with some reaction to it.
All you know, Bazio Panday was the one that was helping Michaela build the party that she have now, working with she side by side. All you know that? I don't think all you know that.
Educate them.
All you don't know that. This man was there.
Yeah, this next one, she's a
building she party.
All you blind, yes?
Hey, boy. Let me tell you something. You shouldn't be talking because you have your fact shit. I don't do it fact person.
You don't know if I have my fact
shit. First of all, the PNM get in contact with boy. backpedal a little bit. You're speeding a little bit. The PNM, other than the UNC, the biggest mistake the UNC made was not linking back with Michaela. Because the PNM now have gotten in contact with Michaela. The fact that Kamala dissed Michaela to that point, let me be real. Any seat that she gets is going to go to the PNM. Them not linking them.
I don't think Collier no. But when Michaela was offered money from the PNM, and you know what she said? She refused it.
Tell them.
You know why? You know why? It's because the PNM, right, wanted she to come under the PNM coalition, right? She wanted Michaela alone to be a part of the party to run because she know once say, yeah, Pande, everybody gonna want to vote PNM. But you know what she do? She refused the money. And you know after that, you know what going on? Both of them trying to fight she don't know. The both of them is trying to fight her down. You know
I tell all Rowley and Kamala is best friend, you know.
Amber, I speeding it.
I you know, Michaela is going to give. She's not giving me UNC that vote. Michaela, unlike the APP, they're in a mess. But Michaela is going to get seats. And her seats, she's going to give it to the PNM. That is, I am telling you.
Yeah, that is clear.
I'm not going to break your heart, darling, but don't say I didn't tell you. Don't say.
Watch now.
I want to know. This is something.
I want to say something.
I am studying law, right? Let me explain something to you. Right? I am studying law, right? And I have been researching about the so-called split voting. Now, in my research, when I was researching about it and stuff, and I saw that when a particular party, let's just say for instance, PNM and the UNC, if they are full supporters in PNM and the UNC, when they go to vote on election and they vote for the PNM and the UNC, it has nothing to do with the third parties. It has nothing to do with third parties, right? Remember, everybody is contesting 41 seats throughout both Trinidad and Tobago, right? Again, let's just look, for instance, the last 5 years when Fitzgerald Hines went up for Lavantil West, right? And he got, I think it was 9,000 and something, 300 and something votes, because I think 11,000 ballots that was casted, 11,134 ballots, I think was passed, was casted. UNC got 1,384 votes, I think. And Fitzgerald Hines get 9,000 something. I can't remember the exact full numbers. You all know when PEP was running for these particular seats, did it affect anybody? Did it affect anything? No. The answer is no. They still get their seats, right? It didn't affect nobody. No third party came in when the UNC and the PNM was voting. But that time, nobody came and affected anything. So I want to know what everybody gets in this so-called split the vote thing. Because as I look in the constitutions, I'm not seeing anything constituting split any votes. I'm not seeing nothing like that. So all I get is narrative from.
No, but Amber, let me tell you something. If you ain't too careful, that splitting the vote thing could really mean what they're trying to say is vote apart, you know, but they're not coming out and saying it, you know.
I feel so.
Because of the Spanish and them, you know.
I feel so. Because if it is that's what it's saying, they don't really look at PNM for real. PNM and UNC, because let me tell
you something.
I was in a conference. Wait now. I was in a conference the other day, and all I know who was there, laughing and kicking and drinking and eating together. Kamala and Rowley.
But friends. I said that.
They are friends.
When I first come up on this live, I said that. Discreet, I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Discreet, I didn't say that.
When I talk in certain
things, I said that Rowley and Kamala just be knocking glass and laughing at we. And we talking about vote PNM, vote UNC. But the laughing at when they're knocking glass, I said that.
Friends. They are
it
friends.
Have a restaurant. Let me enlighten you. It have a restaurant in South. It have a restaurant in South, right? Many years, some good years ago, when the UNC was in power, a certain key figure, I will not call names or I will describe the individual, the one who got spread a house, and he end up in problems because some traffic, some incident on the road with his vehicle, right? And when he and Pandey went into the club to Lime. I will call the club Rising Stars. You know what it is they did? They took every single employee that day who working, they took their phones and they put it away in the office. So that, yes, they put it away in the office. I was told that by one of the employees who was working there, because the Pandey and the said person, for them, I don't really care. At the end of the day, Munilal, right? There was linemen in Rising Stars, and they took the they took the employees and they tell the like the management and them to take away their phones and things. And these two men literally left that place drunken. I ain't joking, drunken.
I don't think people know that the both
They does not know the lifestyle of these people. They does not know.
They don't know. They don't know that Kamala and Rowley are close-knitted friends. Or they don't know these things.
Similarities between Manning and Pandey.
At least you know who I respect a lot to come out and say, even though yes, they are odds in terms of political fights, but they are friends behind closed door is Patrick Manning and Basil Pandey. I respect them right. Because they was
and he apologized to the nation.
They was honest enough to come out and say, "Hey, listen, Ole, we are actually cool people. We are good. We are good, we are good friends. But you see, when it comes to the politics thing, we are at odds because we have differences of opinions, and that's what I respect. But you see, Kamala and Rowley, I don't trust them because they was not honest enough to come out and say they's friends.
Imagine my landlord is an Indian.
I see them drinking.
He say Rowley, he say PNM is the problem. He say Rowley. Wait till he tell me about it. He say Rowley is the problem and Kamala is not the solution. That way he say an Indian man who I renting from.
Well, no, though, but all they don't have to worry about Rowdy no more. No. Rowdy are not be sipping margaritas with his wife. They have to worry about the Chinese man.
Yeah.
It's the Chinese man all they have to worry about now.
The Chinese man want to give the Syrians on them lab until that's the next move you want to do.
I wanted to speak about
this. The man next move. You want to give them Lavantil.
You have a big fight for Lavantil.
Is the main.
Excuse me, whoever said that, that is not a big fight. You know why? Knowing that I'm working for these people, it is very easy financially for them to acquire that because of the two tanks and the lookout by that looking over Beatam Highway. That is not
amalgamated security boss man in Syrian.
Yes, that's Aboud.
That is why Aboud does get all them contracts because he's African Syrian and Aboud is at 1%.
But tell Ole just now that he get 4 acres of land from Kamala for $1 a year.
So all you just thinking about. I mean, I respect the fact that all saying yellow is the code, and I know all saying that because all want to annihilate the
parties
and I agree with all
that is the whole scene. The both parties under the mafia.
And you know what
exactly. PNM is a cult and UNC is a cult.
They are both one in the same. And tell people they come and promise them jobs and kill and tell them to kill themselves out because the bosses and them fighting on a live. Sorry, on a live. They comment on a live to tell the people them, I have a promise already to go get jobs or go get this. And you know what going to happen? The two gang leaders going to be fighting over contracts. What do you think happening in Sea-Lots?
Like pigs in the mud? Like pigs in the mud fighting for food.
Exactly. And all they want to tell me is not one and the same coin. It's the same thing for me.
No, why is it flipping on yourself?
But Amber, let me show you how simple it is to understand. If the 25 cents belong to Kitty, right? And Kitty give you and me the 25 cents and tell we have to choose either heads or tails. And you jump up and you say heads. And I had to say tails. And when Kitty flip the coin in the air now, right? And you get heads and I get tails. Guess who win?
Both are we.
No, you're wrong. You know why Kitty win? You know why Kitty win? Because the coin belonged to Kitty.
She
just used Kitty win because the coin belong to Kitty because she just used me as the pawn in the whole thing to gain power in order to put in the hands of her, so she will be more wealthier.
For real or no?
And that is exactly what it is going on, and we're not waking up and seeing it. But no, I see it and I work in. That'll be wise.
I work in PRD. And then I work at them before PRD because PRDs are PRD food. And we could stay in the hospital.
I had desire. They always do that. They do CPEP the same thing too, you know. They fall in vote, all the guy in a fortnight off with no pay.
Serious?
They fall in vote.
But yes, when Rowley was Amber, let me tell you something. Amber, when Rowley was retiring and they had that big party.
Watch it out. Say how dready fucking government is all here. You walk in CPEP and they pay you late all Tuesday again your money. All of a sudden, election coming, they get paid Thursday, you know. They pay you Thursday, you know, before Friday, you know. And then you know dog, all the rallies.
They're doing that with my job too.
You have to go the rally.
You have to go all.
You get no day
if you
pay.
miss one,
yeah.
You're going to get your time cut.
Wait now.
You're going to get your time cut.
Let Kitty talk. Kitty, I'm pressing that cassette again. You're not getting no day pay.
You get no day pay.
What you saying?
Serious.
You get
yes,
no
boy.
Way boy.
This
your CPEP contractors are bullying for them. They're making sure and get a vote.
Them CPEP people, URP people, forestry people, who are the feeling in them rallies? People who home here?
Nah. I hear about it, but I know there was cutting people.
No, I can tell you that. I work on the floor street. That's why I'm telling you when people hear me.
That is true.
Don't get chatting in your fucking money. Your day salary.
Kitty, I understand. I remember when I was working Allied Security, and Allied Security had the contract for CPEP, and they say, "Blair, go CPEP to work tonight." When I read St. Madeleine and I read by CPEP headquarters, I said CPEP wicked.
They chat then
if you see the fucking building, if you see the building,
come in power. All you know, the contractor go down say work, and all you go be out in a work for a while. Yeah, you just get these contractors. They're frightened.
That's what they telling we in PRD. That's what they telling we in PRD too. That's what they telling we in PRD too. If all you vote PRM, all you will not work because PRD is a PRM firm. I said I'm telling you something. I vote in UNC, and wherever contract comes for the hospital after the UNC win, I jump in. I will draw the green. Every time I firm, let me say Allied get the hospital. I jump in from green to blue. Fuck that.
Trinity, you had to tell them if you was in the ball sucking business, if you was in the ball sucking business and I want to fire you, tell them in order for you to vote for them. Come on. You know the rest.
I get fired from Allied. I get fired from Allied Security. Because I decided I'm not taking Rowley bullshit vaccine.
Well, that is.
I said I'm not taking it.
That is wrong.
I get fired. A whole set of we get sent home.
We have to CPEP. And when people who get brain surgery and all them kind of thing, and who can work again, they send them home.
Why let them sue them that wrong?
No, you can't sue them and you sign their fucking papers. Who signed that?
Sue them what, girl?
For what?
You sign that way,
that have nothing to do with all the contract. That have nothing to do with all the contract. You understand what I'm telling you? All they could have bring them up. All they could have.
The workplace, Rowley, when it was COVID time, Rowley bullied the workforce to bully the employees.
I tell
That's basically what he did.
I go with freaking medical, all kind of thing. What?
Watch now.
They make it work. They get to find out if this is true. What they come back, you have to take that. Rare people lost their work. I know a woman who lost she work living right now and couldn't pay.
Let me tell you something.
Well, they need to go and read up all the constitutional rights.
Let me tell you something. If Rowley and all come and tell me vote for the PNM, and I know me ain't doing that, and he said that he begging for a glass of water when he dying, I rather pee him out. Use him out as a urinal. I will pee him out and tell him, That's for all the wickedness you do, people. Choke on his piss.
The
That man is a
PNM stands for
nasty
P
man.
on them, eh? Well, remember that. The PNM stands for P on them.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you.
No, but not P on them. Not PNM.
Let me tell you something.
PNM it stands for PNM. PNM stands for pain and more.
Bluetooth connected.
The funny thing is that UNC and PNM sharing funds together.
Okay, those study fucking Rowdy and man Kamala, you know.
I tell you, no, that
Remember the time? Or you remember the time when? Watch now.
Them business
Remember the time when they said Jack was
two of them business fixing.
Watch now.
I tell you,
Remember? Or you remember the time when they said Jack was bullying Kamala and the real will talk?
Yes.
Why?
I never hear that.
Yeah,
the whole country was saying that.
Yeah, the whole country.
Because two of them is me rolling hard
I
together.
never hear that.
Yeah, because
but let me tell you this.
Because
Jack, let me tell you this. Jack
was
funding thousands of dollars.
He was funding
yes, Jack Warner was Stephen. Hey, hold on. Jack Warner was Stephen. Jack Warner was Stephen money from FIFA. Jack Warner was Stephen money from FIFA and giving it to UNC, giving it to Kamala for UNC. And when UNC win, Kamala pelt Jack Warner so fucking far.
And
so
you know
far.
You know, the car party still there.
That bygone toting and she back still.
She pelt him far because she know he had the FIFA case to see about. That what she doing that for.
Yeah.
She know he have other bigger business and bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. Yo, while I think he back here, he's seeking asylum. That man have charges upon charges against him. And he's still in the UNC party.
Yeah, but Amber, you talking that talk. What about Steve Ferguson, who was supposed to go America and stand trial and he gone yet?
Oh God. Well, don't let me
under the UNC.
Oh God.
Oh gosh.
Well, don't let me tell. Oh God.
What about Israel Baran Singh?
Call her heart. And Patrick Manning
brother.
Build the church in
well, yeah. Pay now.
The church in
with the church. Yeah.
Hey. Manning thief money too, to build a church in Arima,
Wait, but I know the same. But I know the
Manning was
same church with the thief.
too.
Yeah, but I know the same church with the thief. The bell. That the same church with the thief the bell. Yeah, that the thieving people that are thieving the bell for
a
scrap.
Baptist church, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, a Baptist church, yeah.
The thief the bell. This is thief the bell for the scrap iron.
Let's imagine if PNM getting fucking Baptist $10 million.
Bluetooth disconnected.
Yeah, but we're talking about 10 million. But we're talking about
you understand?
I'm talking about $3 million. Every time they come up for election, they always give it the Baptists for them to be in the power, for them to take power over this country.
No, but
hold on.
Rowdies go back home.
Hold on, let me tell you the why. Let me tell you the why that they just give. Let me talk the things. Let me tell you the why they just be doing that. The Baptists just be doing some dirty, heavy shit for the PNM.
We know that.
Rowdy hands.
That's what the 10 million doing.
Hold on. Rowdy hands are very dirty. When Manning say, oh, don't put Rowley there, don't put the Raging Bull there, take. 2 weeks later, Rowley come and he get, Manning come and he get a heart attack. Rowley went to Bago. Manning fall sick and dead. Boom, that happened. We leave that alone. Nobody said nothing. I start to put two and two together. Abu Bakr say if Rowley knew not more crime, he say he keeping our next scoop. 1990 come in. Boom, a week later, Abu Bakr got a heart attack and dead. Rowley went to Tobago for a week and come back.
Yeah, but
What
let
I
me
telling
tell
all
you
of
something.
You see that
Let me
man
tell
don't
you
care about
something.
Hold on, I
nobody.
ain't done. Then, a man, what's his name, boy? I can't remember, man. He just died just so. He said something about Rowley that Rowley didn't like. And boom, he come and dead too. Rowley went to Tobago for a week. The lady, Lisa Morris, was going to bring out some papers against Rowley that she knows she was going against Rowley. Lisa Morris,
With the
lady,
house
who
fire,
get burned
with
up
the
in the
house
house.
fire.
All of a sudden, York Stank blow up. All of a sudden, York Stank blow up. Rowley went Ghana. Them yam seeds that he get from Ghana. And he plant all over the country. That is
My
not
Lord.
yam seeds. That is obia he planted in the ground so we could walk on it, so we stupid cunts could vote for PNM. That is why he planted in certain areas that he know that is like laugh until and sour. That he know that this vote for PNM every
Just
single
now.
5 years.
But
You understand?
two of them is
We
one and the
went and
same.
plant
That man
The other
hand
day.
is dirty. That is
We
why
went
Kamala
and plant
looking
these
feeble.
seeds.
So
Is that a list?
wait, hold on. No, but let me tell you something. Did all see Kamala on TikTok come out her vehicle here? Did they how she was looking? If Kamala walk too fast, she fall down. Kamala looking very, very sick. Rowley
Because of the
walking as
fact that because
slow. Rowley, let me tell you, Rowley throw a slow
he
spiritual
diabetic.
blow on Kamala, and Kamala don't even know. Rowley hands is very dirty. And all they don't even know.
That's why this
I'm tell
country
you
bleeds.
How
something.
dirty. That
It's not
ring,
just the,
that man have on his pinky is what's saving him.
it's
Like
not
Leon
just the
Allen and all of them.
PNM
That's
now.
a voodoo ring.
It's not
And
just
he
the
get all the
PNM
people
now.
in it. Yeah, but I know Amber when you talk about the PNM right now, and all them, you see all the ministers and them had this little gold bracelet around the wrist there.
Yes.
Where the people are them the thief from Terrence Hill saying, yeah, that is a God. That is what's saving them.
Correct,
All
correct.
that.
Yes.
Only Lord ready
All
to
that.
Still must save the world.
And
Right?
you see how long it takes for them to find the men who thief Terrence Hill saying God? Yeah, it take them maybe half a day to find it. That to tell you.
Trinity,
Them
And the
Trinity.
fully
guy?
got it.
Hey,
And I
hey,
see
hey,
Yes,
hey.
they get it back.
Amber,
All you know it's
all you
about
stick up
church
in
that
them.
I live in, right? The other
All you
day.
stick up
You
in
know
them.
who I
Bring back
see
a
coming
pista.
out from that lodge? Moonilal.
Let me bring back a piece of history about Kamala, where all you go ball. Oh, good. All
Everybody
you
in lodge,
remember. All
everybody
you
in that government
remember.
system in a lodge. Just
Watch
remember
now.
that.
All I remember when Kamala was coming back to the country and the fine, I think was drugs or guns and ammunition on she is she compound or she neighbor compound and nothing ever come out of it.
Nothing. We could talk about too when it is she spent $320,000 just in roti for the party that she was having too. We could talk about that too.
And giving Swanee about $2 million to follow the UNC and sing for the UNC
We could
and
say
all kind of thing.
all these
Or
things. I
when
have a list.
when she pay Ian Allen to become an MP.
And he balling about he not for sale. And he selling he not for sale. And he on a pulpit, but he for sale.
Yeah, nah, boy, you think the
He
two
not
of
for
them
sale my
easy?
ass.
The two of them not
Or
easy.
when she had weed trees in she had.
Yes, correct. Like the same thing, girl. She was coming back to the country, and
Yeah, but she said a
somebody,
gardener. She blamed
yeah,
on the gardener. She said the gardener, he was there and I could fall out of his pocket and fall by she wouldn't know. So she blamed the gardener.
So you literally telling me you don't drink and smoke and you're diabetic?
That's a lie. That is a big stink lie.
And you know why I know, Amber, you know why that is a lie? Let me juggle on the memory here. And you know when you're going up the highway, when you're passing Courts Megastore,
Yeah.
it have a big red sign on a building called Trade Zone. What you think they harboring on that compound?
Drugs.
Make a guess.
I
What
personally,
you think weeders be working on that compound for?
well,
Let me-
honestly, I think
let me
that's just
lay
an
all in
avenue.
No.
For-
Well, all right, go ahead. Let me wait until you finish.
Me, I think that is just an avenue for like laundering certain things like drugs and things, like big heaps of drugs and things.
Nah, I wouldn't go to that extent because I don't know, and I ain't no court close. But what I was gonna tell you, customs is on that compound, and we were told that they literally oversee the alcohol that comes into the country in on that compound for all the parliamentarians. It doesn't matter if it's UNC, PNM, and Jack, wherever. Parliamentarians. All the alcohol that comes into the country for the parliamentarians and them to drink and frolic and have a time, the customs and them controls that on the compound. I'm telling you. So imagine them getting them kind of benefits, right? And let me open all the eye a little further. They're talking about the healthcare system in Trinidad so bad, and the healthcare system this, and the healthcare system that. For the listening public, when Rowley and Kamala and the rest of parliamentarians' children sick, where do they take them? Not abroad?
Abroad, yes.
So then why make legislation for the public that does not make any kind of sense and it's not helping the public, but yet you taking your children abroad to seek medical attention? Why not seek medical attention here? Because they know damn well it's not good.
When anyone is sick, they just go abroad.
Let me leave one more point of view with Ole. No, this one go hit Ole very hard. How old is Rowley?
Oh, good. I think he needs 70.
72. Yeah. 72, right? So
right. And
what is the just no wait.
Age limit.
I'm gonna drop the bomb now. What is the pension? What is the pension retiree rate?
65.
So why the asshole still have a man 72 years running the country? So
you can ask that same thing for Kamala too. All they think Kamala is.
Kamala is about 60 something, I think.
You're talking about age there. Since you're on age, right?
Yeah.
And other presidents that die at 69.
Okay, then. So then you're onto something.
Right.
You're onto something.
Right. And Rowley passed 69.
Way past 69.
That is the point I'm making.
Right. So how he then died too at 69 and the others and them died at 69? What going on there?
What voodoo is that?
What voodoo is that? Is a piece of voodoo going on there? Is that a piece of voodoo going on? All right.
And let me go international now. I'm going to ask a question here. Let me see if I'll onto something. The only person might know this is Yoga. Right? Anybody know about a place called the Bohemian Grove?
I hear about it, but I don't know what is happening.
Okay, well, they're talking about voting for these political parties, right? You notice the screen twitching, right? The screen twitching for a reason. When heads of state go abroad, they just have to go in the Bohemian Grove and worship a effigy or a statue of a owl, and what they just do?
I hear about it here.
They just do mock sacrifices of a child, a dolly of a child that they just like sacrifice to the owl. Based on a cultic higher order in the Bohemian Grove. If you want better information on it, Google Alex Jones Infowars.com.
I hear about it, I hear about it, but I just don't know what exactly it is doing.
Every head of state in the world, whether it's prime minister or president or anybody of influential and sophisticated status in the world, whether it's religion, whether it's politics, whether it's race, you're holding a certain...
Some years ago, bro, and before the COVID-19 hit, it had some DVDs was going wrong in Trinidad. I was showing the Illuminati and all them things.
Yes.
And that was a video on it. Right?
Yes.
You cannot go and buy that DVD on the streets anyway. And that was before the COVID, about 2016, 2015 around there. All these DVDs was exposed to the public.
Yes. And let me take it a little further now. Let me take it a little further. Everybody that say, oh, they discuss, everybody that say, don't discuss politics, religion, and race. You know, there's a strategy to keep you in abject slavery.
Yeah.
So that they will, that is a way of keeping you in abject slavery. So you hush them out and be a good slave. At the end of the day.
And the way how everybody say, especially African people, they say, oh, Africans were enslaved this, Africans were enslaved that. East Indians were enslaved too.
Nah, yes. they was
and only African was enslaved.
They was getting
but they were paid. They were getting paid, yes, they were getting paid, but they were slaves too.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Indian people were known as indentured laborers. They were working for a salary.
Exactly. Exactly.
African people was working to get licks and toilet land. That's the difference.
Now I actually tell a woman that I actually tell a woman that already. A woman told me at work that we were all slaves. I said, lady, I was slave by choice. He was paid. And I walked off. But let me tell you something. Back to the health sector. What I don't like about the health sector is that we working and paying health charge in this bitch. And these Venezuelans are making baby for free. Hold on. Why these Venezuelans are making baby for free? Why these foreigners getting healthcare for free and we paying health charge every fortnight and every month?
Thank you.
Make that make sense.
Thank you.
Venezuelans need to start paying tax. They need to start paying and they need to start paying bills. I get fed up on this shit. Let me enlighten you. Reminding these people.
Let me enlighten you a little bit. Trinity, let me enlighten you a little bit. I recently came out and I point this out to the public because you know why? It's disgusting. Because we like to talk about the Venezuelans and them. Okay, they're doing things that we all don't agree with and we all don't like because of the certain murders that took place in
they need to go back where they come from.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm not disputing that. But here where I cannot understand and I put myself in the picture now. I was in a relationship with a certain individual of African descent. And I went around, literally came from work, sleepy and tired on myself. And the person telling me they're looking for a job. There are 4 subjects and so on of African descent. And I went around and helped the person try to get a job. And when I talk to certain persons, and I relate back to the person, oh, that's too far, like too much a passage. And then the person from right Manahambri, right? But you find to go and work in Gulf City Mall is a problem. To go and work Subway on the hill, on the link up is a problem. And I went in Princess Tong Mall, and you know what? I asked a man who controlling the mall, and you know what the man turned and tell me? He say, you know the reason why that person will not get a job? I say, why? And the man know me from Norway. The man said the reason why she will not get a job is because of her attitude. You have to learn to humble yourself out here. Attitude is everything. I'm telling you.
So
when you're talking about the Spanish and them,
no, we're not. I'm not saying no.
If you don't want to get up and work, and it have people coming on the outside from a different country.
You're changing up your tongue here now, because I'm telling you this one. Listen, most of them Venezuelans are underpaid. And employers choose to take them because they know that they will take the money actually not going to work for $80, no 9 to 5 dollars. And then will do that. Understand? All of them.
Money is being passed under the table, Kitty.
Just now. It's not 20. It's not 20. And we living in one house and thing, you know. They going into houses. 20 of them living there, all proper 100, and they pay their rent. We have to pay we whole rent. We whole mortgage by ourselves. So we can't go out there and work for no eat.
Exactly. Yes. I know a man. Kitty, I know a man, but I know a man. And a landlord put out a whole family so he could let a whole staff medicine. And let me tell you this too. And Kitty's talking the right thing. Them body does be passed under the table. Them just be under the table. So then when that pay no NIS and health charge and take the employers. Ratans is one. Let me tell you this. Don't discreet. Hold on. Ratans is one.
You're talking truth.
My sister tried to get my cousin tried to get working Ratans last year. You understand? Ratans said they're not hiring. You have a whole hiring sign on your door, but you're not hiring. When you go to Ratans, it's only Freddy. It's only Freddy inside it.
But I tell you, I went last year too when I was out of a job.
And I went inside Rattan Sue. She was a manager. Venny manager, eh? I went inside, I said, good day. I see all hiring people and things. She watched me up and down. And she said, no, we're not taking nobody, you know, but I could still take care of your resume and thing. I said, well, no, don't bother because you watch me up and down one, right?
You tell
and then
she
you
that?
turn around, you tell me you're not hiring nobody. So I said, it making no sense for me to give you. I know they have a big hiring sign outside. This was in Shoguners. And I have a big hiring sign outside in Shoguners. And they're not hiring nobody. I said, don't bother. And I walk out.
All in sad though. The hiring very all over the place because money is being passed under the table.
They have a whole factory in Debo Martin.
Everything
is
all
only
is
very
saying,
working inside of there.
everything all you're saying, I categorically agree with all you. But let me let all you know something. If Trinidadian people, some Trinidadian people want to sit down and they want to get up off their ass and thing and
what about the children who now coming out of school?
What you think gonna happen, Trinity?
Yeah, but
you
what about the children who are coming out of school? How they are going to get jobs?
First of all,
that's true, but we is the reason why.
People looking for work and cannot get the job because there's a Venezuela. Really,
exactly.
And I agree.
Discreet. I have two cousins with subjects. Only I have two cousins with subjects, and because they live in Lavantil, people don't want to hire them. What people here where you live in, they just want to hire you. People
correct. I hear that talk already too.
Yes.
You have to change your address if you live in Lavantil. You have some like San Fernando.
No, but what I'm saying,
you want to get them a second address.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm living by that person.
Yeah, but let me put it in this category for you to properly understand.
To get your child in a good school, you have to lie on the address. We can do what they send your child to do. You want that? Okay, so you live in Point 14 and you want to send your child to Sanford and No Boys, but your child can't go Sanford and No Boys because your child not live in Laramie and environs. You understand? We had to change my stepson address to his grandmother address in Laramie in order for he to go sit Sanford and No Boys. You understand? All the SCA, your child doing perfect in school in the SCA and the zone, and not your child put your child in the schools that the child don't deserve. That wicked man thing.
Yes.
Your child can't get in a primary school in first year because they're ready and them taking it. Like craziness.
Yes.
Yeah, but what
we should just sit there and take that shit.
Understand what it is I'm saying, right? It are people literally as we speak right about this moment in the country right now on our block sit down. Knowing that tomorrow is Monday, it might be a holiday. Or let me say Tuesday, which is also a holiday and all too. Right? They literally sit down on the block. They're skillful in trade. They're skillful with their hands. And they could do certain things. But you know what they're going to say? Oh, if any of them come and they take their work. Right? But you sitting down on the block, what you doing?
I spoke to
that's that question.
That's true.
I want to answer this question very quick. Firstly, all the Trinidadians do not ever support local business people.
That is a lie.
All they support things. So it's not making no sense. Or they will see a man selling water on the side of the world, score them and go in a shop and go and buy the bottle of water.
You know why they are lie? Because on the Tasca Road going to Princeton, it are two men selling water and there's of African descent.
Wait. Let me tell you something. I spoke to two young boys day before yesterday, and they're very skilled with their hands. They wanted to become electricians and thing, right? They did the course and they get through the course and they had a thing, they ready to go, but they on the block. I say, so what happened to the thing? Why are they nothing? You know, doing all the thing or whatever the case is. You know what they tell me? They say, miss, you know, we don't have no opportunities out here. We not getting the opportunities.
Have many opportunities.
When they don't want to take, we
don't get you like that. How much certificates you see people having and still can't get the work? You're going white up and out.
I have real certificates in patient care geriatric, and you know why I work in fucking security. You don't get them opportunities. Who know who, especially in the health sector. You see, the health sector is who know you and who you know.
Exactly.
You know how many applications I put out in the past how much years, and I never get called from somewhere. But I start to say, you know what, fuck this shit.
Let me say something. I currently studying business management alongside with law and everything like that. I have 6 passes. I know how hard it was for me to get a job.
Let me ask
hard
you
it
a
was for me to
question.
get a job.
Amber, let me ask you a question. If you study to be a farmer and you get a degree in farming, and you go into farming?
Yes.
Right. Answer this question for me now. How it is that a lot of people in the country getting degree in this and degree in that, and they're not going in the actual work where the degree stands
You're not
for?
understanding what I'm saying.
No,
All
explain
right,
it to me.
let me break it down for you, right? Let's just say I finish and I graduate, right? And I get my degree in LLB law, right? And I go into these law firms and I send in my application to the law school. They're going to ask me, how much experience I have? Well, the minimum we're looking for is 3 years. So come back when you have 3 years experience. Or come back when it is you're able to fit these requirements. Huh? It's not
I
about,
think your
it's not
problem
about,
is making yourself marketable. What you need to do?
problem is not making yourself marketable. Your
No, wait,
resume
let me
could be the
explain it.
pristine type.
No, let me explain it to you. When you go through a system like that and they're telling you the war experience, if you have your grandmother garage, like if you're living in a gated community and you have your grandmother garage, you set up your own practice, you print cards, you dish it out to businesses and to influential people in the country so that you could gain some experience based on your own practice. That is what I meant.
Hey boy,
Yeah, man.
look around my place, boy. How long you got my place?
Live it, mute your mic now, boy. Mute your mic now, live it.
You're making noise, you say people.
I try not to talk and I don't think nobody here why I know saying.
No, really,
what I was
nah?
saying, right?
Nah, live it was
No,
talking.
what I was saying.
Not really.
Right. What was saying, right? To Ambana, seeing that you're doing your law degree, you say, right? Right. See if you could gain some kind of wisdom in this one. I can tell you here.
How?
When you go to these businesses to try to find work and they tell you they want people with experience and so on. Okay, we understand. So that is a kind of inroad for you too, because what you could do, whatever little money you have, you pool money together, you whole little fundraising and thing, and you set up a practice in your grandmother or your mother or your parents' yard, and print cards and you let them know this is your address, and they come to you, so you gain experience by your own self-development.
Okay, so let me ask a question, right? Because you need a license in order for you to go and practice law, right? Firstly. Secondly, you had to be able, right, to pick a specialty, you can't just come and do everything, right? When it is...
I don't think you understand what I'm telling you, you know.
I understand
I'm talking about when you done pass the bar already.
Wait. I understand what you're saying. I'm just giving you a breakdown, right?
Yeah,
When it is you, let me just say, I go and work, let me say KFC or something, and I save up my money to start a practice. First of all, you don't know how much money it is to start a practice. It's very expensive, right? We're talking about $15,000 up, right? I would have to work years in order for me to just gain $50,000 on a minimum wage salary, right? Secondly, let's just say I gain the $15,000 within 5 years, and I come and I say I want to start this practice, right? How much people is going to come to me because I am fresh out of school? I have no experience, right? How much people is going to come to me as a business person and give me a chance? Especially if we say I get a case and I don't have no experience in the case and whether or in the certain practice or law that I want to do, and I have no experience in it. How it is I will be able to go and defend that person when I never gained the experience? My solution to the whole problem is this: if businesses had like a program or a section or something for internship, more businesses have things for internships so that people can be able to gain the experience. I'm not talking about OJT, right? I'm not, because they don't take very long. One. But if people had internships, I'm talking about like private and public businesses had programs for internships, people would not be complaining about the lack of opportunity within Trinidad and Tobago. That is my stance on everything that I just see. Because to do all of that is not a problem, you know. To do all that is not the problem. But it's how much people is going to support you, one, when they see that you don't have the experience. They are not going to come to you.
All right. Look at this, right? Look at this. I want to get into start a business based on produce, right? And you know what I started doing? I started buying up my stuff and putting it away by doing my homework in order to start my business. And so far,
Bluetooth connected.
And you know what's the funny thing? Nobody can music to not talk about agriculture at all.
Anytime they do that, I take
They're
them
not
up
going to
the
survive.
bundle and leave in Trinidad.
No. Let me tell you something. They want autonomy, but they are not going to survive it.
No, they
They're
won't. They
heavily
won't survive it.
reliant on the Trinidad's
Because
funds.
them biggest
Tiantec in Trinidad, the supply Tobago. What's the supply Tobago water?
That's why
So
they won't
they
survive it.
cannot separate themselves.
They
Nah, they
cannot
can't
do it.
separate themselves.
They cannot
But
do
what
it.
They
A lot
need
of
us.
resources comes from Trinidad.
Tobago will not survive as an island on their own
Correct.
because Tobago is just
They will have
Tobago is like
agriculture.
I get away, Tobago that's the only thing Tobago have is beauty, Tobago don't
right.
have no resources like here.
No.
They have plenty land. They have plenty agricultural
land.
growth.
Yes,
I tell you that.
plenty
them
of that. But like what we have here, like how we have the the oil, the sugar and stuff, they don't have that. Them
And
need
they
us.
have it damn thing.
They
No,
have
but let me
plenty
tell you
agriculture.
something.
We have a lot of
Them
things.
product.
And you know
Them
why?
product to
Yeah,
market.
everything, yeah.
Only
Them
know
product.
why I voting Patriotic Front? Because she touched on these things, because Tobago have a vast land of agriculture. And we want to go into agriculture. We want to become self-sufficient. Trinidad land too, but Tobago have the richest soil, right? She wants to use Tobago for both Trinidad and Tobago to become self-sufficient, right? So we wouldn't rely on plenty imports from the US and all these other places.
Bluetooth disconnected.
I like that. Anyway, just
Who do
like
that?
Cuba she got a message, I like the ringtone. But just like how Cuba becomes self-sufficient, right? Off of just being a big medical brigade.
Bluetooth connected.
I took to his back, these spray hands to my flags.
What's
Hey,
that?
what's that?
I love my country.
This
I
great.
love my country. My
This
hand.
great.
I'm a handband matching.
This great, that was me to talk to you at the text, you might.
I love my
Waiting about
country.
that. Kitty, come back here. I saw tax that question. Kitty.
I'm missing my girlfriend.
She gone by. She on
I'm
teacup.
missing my girlfriend. Greatness. I ain't seen she at all.
You
boy.
see the woman who shit on the grave?
Oh, what? God.
What?
I never hear about.
All the good what she do for the country, and despite all the bad what she do, the one bad that she should not have done.
Come, Auntie Kamala. Come, Rowley. Come, watch. Come, Auntie Kamala. Come, Rowley. Come on, give me something. Come here. Boy, you fucking wake up now, boy. Wake up now, boy. Come, Auntie, come. Come, Rowley. Come. It's the people on the streets getting we thing, boy. The people on the streets just give we thing. The lovely people out here who are heartical, we're loving them, just give we thing. Come, Auntie, come. Come, Rowley. Wall you. Well, they get me mad at all the shit now, boy, dog, boy. The racist set a batch of people and them only talking one set of shit, boy, dog, boy. Understand? With them, with any of them. With them. Some of the black people that talk too much shit against Indian people and some of the Indian people that talk too much shit against black people, boy. Well, I just stop that shit. With them. Politics getting all the what? Hate?
Veins. For those of you who do, PNM has named their candidate for the Diego Martin West constituency for the upcoming general election, which is due this year. I want to get into his acceptance speech, where he thanked Dr. Rowley for the foundation set in Diego Martin. What foundation exactly are you referring to, Mr. Devines? One of youth unemployment, one of high crime, one of garbage. And you know what? Let's use that to jump into the second point, where he said, enjoy tonight, but the work starts tomorrow. That's the problem. The problem is that you are now going to start to work and now going to start to walk Diego Martin West. Otherwise, you would not be saying, thank you, Dr. Rowley, for the foundation. Of course, unless the foundation that he set is a foundation of nepotism and legacy politics. I have no idea who you are, who your daddy is, and who your mommy is. But maybe if we dig deep, we'll figure out how in the world you were gifted a seat like Diego Martin West, which traditionally is a PNM safe seat, though of course I argue it's a non-voting seat. But whatever it is, PNM wins the seat most times, right? I think it's only once in history. But again, I stray. I want to explain something, Mr. Devines. And to PNM, because they have legacy politics. This guy clearly has never walked Diego Martin West. Before Mr. Devines had even put his name up, before he even signed up any nomination form, before he entered politics, his heart should have been in Diego Martin West. He should have known about the garbage problem. He should have known that there is a garbage bin in La Puerta that is set up just in front of a woman with a newborn baby. Well, the baby might actually be about 4 or 5 years old now. That garbage constantly is overflowing. You smell it and you see the garbage overflowing into the streets. There are rats, massive rats roaming around that area, and it is in front of someone's home. So you shouldn't be saying that the work starts tomorrow after you have become a candidate. And this is the problem with PNM. Hans Devines should have been walking. He should have been living there. He should have been fighting for the needs of citizens and constituents for his life. He should have had a lifetime of service before he was gifted this seat. So when I listen to a speech and the speech says, thanks for the foundation, Dr. Rowley, I know he started off bad. And when the second point is the work starts tomorrow, well, I know we in for another 30 plus years of PNM in PNM safe seat nonsense, feeling that because it's a safe seat, you could show up there in your fancy suit and think that you could come and start to walk only in an election year. I am so tired of politicians who feel that they could show up in an election year and then enter parliament and receive big salaries, perks, and pension for life. Trinidad and Tobago, are you fed up? You have to be the one to set the tone, because you know what? I saw all the PNM people jumping and waving their banner, and I still see people talking about, well, at least it's a fresh face. you know what? This at least minimum standard politics needs to end. We want candidates who have spent a lifetime of service, who have spent their adulthood serving the constituents, and then come to realize, wait, you know what? Politics is the highest form of ethics. After serving my butt off, I come to realize that the only way to really make change is to get inside Parliament and change the laws and change the policies. It's people who walk and work normal without any salary. They just do it because they have a servant's heart. And then they come to realize this place needs change. And then they put their names, you know, on a nomination form and say, I'm willing to serve. Not the other way around. Not the other way around. So I'm sorry, Hans Devines. You start off real bad. The work not supposed to start tomorrow. The work was supposed to start 10 years ago. Diego Martin West, Trinidad and Tobago, if we want change, we the citizens have to change. We have to demand more from the people that want to serve us. Oh, sorry. In this case, want to just represent us in Parliament and collect a salary. Oh wait, sorry. In this case, toe a party line inside of Parliament and get a salary. Better than that, Trinidad and Tobago. Demand more.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Renison Jeffrey, and this is the Workers' Rights Platform. We are broadcasting live on the Workers' Rights Network. Now, the reason why we would have played that entire live concerning these young people on TikTok, I want you to understand where we are. So, thank you, technician. I mean, you keep the people abreast. But more importantly, these are the people that we represent, the young people, are unimpressed as to what is taking place within politics. And we are seeing politicians time and time again just looking as if they want a job, because they are not willing to go outside there and work like us. They are not willing to do that. What they are willing to do is to occupy office for the perks and for the money. And many a time somebody would have said, according to the technician here, somebody would have said in our life, you bad talking a particular party and expect them to put you up for representation within the area. But you are far from it. This program here, we talk democracy regardless of what everybody have their sense of opinion, and that is what I want all you to understand. It's not that we must remain enemies. Workers' rights is based on the opinion of people. That is how this show here would have started off here in the first place. We peg what we do on the people based on the response that we are getting. And despite of what, the people is fed up and they want change. So my friend, there will be a next live that we will do based on this. As soon as we get in contact with some of these creators and them that doing these massive lives live on TikTok that has been lost in the wilderness after they come off, we will be showing you what the people on the ground is thinking. My name is Renison Jeffrey. This is the Workers' Rights Platform, and I am out. Thanks for watching.